trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity seems louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity seems louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity seems louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen AmadayAShakur show. I'm your host, Queen AmadayAShakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so I apologize for being late. Right now, I'm trying to email. I'm sending out this mass email that I send every morning because I forgot to send it to other subscribers. So just bear with me for a second. Almost done, beloveds. Hold on. Okay, just just a few more. I'm sorry. My apologies, beloveds. Hold on. And happy Friday, everybody. Okay, almost there. Okay, I'm glad I got that out of the way. I almost forgot to do it. Okay, so now with that all being said, hey everybody, Claudette is in the virtual building. Miss AP, all right, Desmond, Buckhorst DC, the lovely T, Love Christy. All right, let's get into it. G from the land, all right. Borillis is here, Hadassah. Okay, so shout out, hey Queen Amona Hewitt, shout out to all my loyal royals. I see you, we the people. Okay, Emperor Rex. Okay, Nubia Ra is here. All right, let's get into it. Danielle, Poetical Winds. All right, Breezy is here. Lady Painter, Peacefully Living. Danielle. Okay, so shout out to all my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. Y'all know I love me some you. Now, before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right. So with that all been said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Kratz. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so now let's get into it. You all, the DOJ and Trump and all the lies are just coming unraveled. Okay, we find out now that they actually had a credible witness against Trump. And this person was so credible, they were interviewed 4 times. But the DOJ has hidden 3 of the interviews. Okay, not said a word about it. So I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention. And also, we find out that, remember when they said that letter? Hold on, let me pull this up. The letter they said came from Jeffrey Epstein when he was in jail before his alleged self-deletion. Okay, this letter right here. Okay, now this came out in data set 8. And remember, Midas Touch with Bima Salas, they were the first ones to report this, and the DOJ went in on them, trying to discredit them and act as though they were lying and just making things up or didn't know what they were talking about. Okay, so revealed in data set 8 of the Epstein files release, which was briefly posted on the Justice Department's website yesterday, there's a letter alleging to be sent from Epstein to convicted ex-offender Larry Nassar. Now, the letter, which is postmarked just days after Epstein died, reads, Dear LN, as you know by now, I have taken the short route home. Good luck. We share one thing, our love and caring for young ladies at the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president shares our love of young nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub, I think he meant grab, I'm not sure, in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Yours, Epstein. Now, you all may remember because I read you all that, right? Okay, so the Epstein letter to Nassar from prison before his deletion, the contents of that letter were never revealed. Additional documents show that the letter was submitted for handwriting analysis, though it is unclear if investigators reached a conclusion on whether or not this was definitively written by Epstein. Okay, now they have the images where you can find it in the files. But here's the thing. They said that it was debunked. That's basically what the DOJ came out and said. Here's what they said right here, because they went in on Midas Touch. The FBI has confirmed this alleged letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar is fake. The fake letter was received by the jail and flagged for the FBI at the time. The FBI made this conclusion based on the following facts. The writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death out of Northern Virginia when he was jailed in New York. Now, according to other information, the letter was allegedly actually found at the prison. So does the address that was printed on it actually matter? Because it was supposedly found inside the facility where Jeffrey Epstein was being housed at. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, now anyway, with that all being said, the return address did not list the jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail. This fake letter serves as a reminder that just because a document released, now I want you to pay attention to this last part, because this right here is where they're trying to give people reason to doubt the validity of anything in the Epstein files. This fake letter serves as a reminder that just because a document is released by the Department of Justice does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual. Nevertheless, the DOJ will continue to release material required by law. So they're saying, yeah, this stuff may be all lies and BS, but, because it's required of us, we'll just go ahead and put it out. Well, here's the thing. If they thought much of this stuff or a lot of these things weren't true, why didn't they just release all of the files? Because we only have like 2%. 50 terabytes, okay, allegedly, of data have not been returned or put out. And they're saying, that they're done releasing the files, okay? Now, it was submitted, the letter was submitted for handwriting analysis. The DOJ says it was confirmed that it was not Epstein's writing. Well, that's not what the report says. That's the laboratory report right there. As you can see, the special agent's name is blurred out or redacted. Okay. But the bottom line is, hold on, that's the wrong one. Hold on. They basically say the lab couldn't figure out whether it was really Jeffrey Epstein's handwriting because it didn't have enough handwriting samples, just like everyone else on the internet 2 months ago, because that's what people are saying. Now, but what I find interesting is how could they not have enough handwriting samples when pretty much Jeffrey Epstein, they raided his residences. They didn't find anything with his handwriting on it there. Well, of course they did. Of course they did. So to me, that doesn't even make any sense for them to be saying that they couldn't find enough handwriting samples. Okay. I just don't believe that. But anyway, like I said, the lies are coming unraveled. So now let's talk about this victim, because a journalist by the name of Roger Sullenberger, okay, he found some information on a witness. If you all remember, I actually read some of the accusations from this witness to you all because it was in the files. But little did we know this witness had been interviewed 4 times and deemed as credible. And also, this same witness got a settlement from Epstein's estate. Now, what does that tell us? If the witness got a settlement from Epstein's estate, that means she was absolutely credible. Because why would they settle? Why would they settle? And also, these are the allegations. Blake stated Epstein introduced her to Trump, who subsequently forced her head down to his exposed cucumber, which she subsequently bit. In response, Trump punched her in the head and kicked her out. Okay, Blake, remember Epstein introduced her to Trump saying, "This is a good one, huh?" And Trump responded, "Yes." Okay, that witness. So today I searched for the victim's case in AI-powered database, EpsteinData.com, files that have been downloaded at some point from the DOJ's public release data. That turned up a document I hadn't seen before, showing that the FBI conducted not 1, but 4 interviews with this victim. The 4 interviews took place in the summer of 2019 after the initial tip was given in the days following Epstein's arrest. The document also accounts for FBI interview notes associated with 3 of those 4 interviews. Here's the screenshot of the results. Now, let me just show you a bigger screenshot of the results. So the witness is listed as 302. The witness's interviews are listed as 302, and we know that from other documentation, okay, that was in the files. So here we have interview 302. This one is 7/24 of 2019. The next one is, actually, should I be reading from the bottom? Well, it really doesn't matter, but here's the next date. Okay, interview 302. This one is dated it looks like August the 8th of 2019. Here's another one. So that's 2 already. Here's another one, August the 20th of 2019. And the last one is dated October the 16th of 2019. Okay? So I want you all to pay attention. And this came out too, or that's the title of his report. Okay, so they're doing a whole lot of lying and definitely covering up some of everything. Also, there was a PowerPoint slide presentation with information on it. It was like 21 slides. Hold on, let's just go to this report. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. The truth's coming out. I told you, they're not going to keep getting away with this stuff. That's what they're not going to do. Okay? And I want to tell you all something too. What I found interesting was the fact that, hold on. Why isn't this letting me scroll down? Let me see if I can fix this real quick. Okay, there we go. Okay, so FBI interviewed Trump accuser, Epstein files show. Trump was credibly accused. Okay, credibly. All right, please pay attention. These are credible accusations. So for all the MAGA numbskulls who are saying that Trump was the whistleblower, oh, he's been absolved like he said, so lies and BS. It's a credible witness right here, and I bet this isn't the only one. If they hid all of this, what else are they hiding in the other 50 terabytes of data? Okay, please pay attention, honey. This is all crazy. It says Trump was credibly accused of sexual assault in the Epstein files. It's unclear what became of the DOJ's investigation. Well, I'll tell you what became of it. They hid it. Okay, they hid the receipts and evidence. That's what they did, and they're still covering everything up. The FBI spoke to a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, who also accused Donald Trump of sexually and violently assaulting her, according to records in the Justice Department's publicly searchable Epstein database. Now, the records don't show what became of the DOJ's investigation into the allegations, but the documents indicate the government found her to be a credible accuser. Records elsewhere in the files revealed that a woman with matching biographical details sued Epstein's estate and won a settlement in 2021. Okay, now, and when she sued, she also included the allegations against Trump. Now, she didn't say Trump's name specifically. She said a prominent or wealthy, prominent New York businessman or whatever, or New Yorker, a wealthy, prominent New Yorker or something like that. But all of the things that were said added up to the other information that I just read to you. So the allegations in FBI interview are landmark revelations, undermining the White House's protestations that Trump hasn't been accused of wrongdoing, and showing instead that the U.S. government has been aware of a credible Trump accuser in these files. Now, the DOJ included the woman's allegation in a comprehensive 21-page internal slideshow presentation, which I did see the slideshow, and I'm going to show you just one of the slides. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'll show you the pertinent one to what I'm speaking on. Okay. About the government's investigations into Epstein and convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, well as in an internal email chain collecting information for the presentation. Her accusation is one of two about Trump that the FBI's Child Sex Trafficking and Violent Crimes Task Force noted on the slide, which listed a number of then non-public accusations involving prominent figures. Now, redacted stated Epstein introduced her to Trump. Okay, I already read you all that part about what he did to her, and then he kicked her out. It further went on to say the victim would have been approximately 13 to 15 years old when this occurred, according to the presentation. Now, the alleged assault took place in the early mid-1980s, and the same woman also claimed to be an Epstein victim. Now, do y'all hear this? These devils have been just telling nothing but lies. Absolutely nothing but lies. This is so annoying. Okay, but let me continue. So the second Trump claim on the slide that Epstein introduced the victim to Trump when she was 14 years old, saying this is a good one. Okay, and Trump agreed. Now, this carries immense credibility within the DOJ. That claim about an incident at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in 1994 came from a key government witness whose testimony at trial helped DOJ prosecutors convict Maxwell. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Baby, when I tell you they're going down, they're going down. Do y'all hear this? How's Trump going to get out of it? Now they can pull all the shenanigans, but at the end of the day, they're going down, honey. This is the age of Aquarius. The truths are being revealed. So let's continue. This is all so nefarious. Okay, so both the presentation and the email chain were created last summer, around the time Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche interviewed Maxwell, okay, for an anachronistic jailhouse proffer. Now, the assault allegation initially came via a lead called into an FBI hotline, according to internal records about the hotline tips. The Trump accusation sits at the top of the list, which also contains salacious, unverified, and often bizarre accusations against Trump. The notes show the FBI follow up on the tip, learning the victim's identity from the caller and preparing to dispatch agents to the Washington office for an interview. Okay, but the slideshow presentation and internal emails last summer don't cite the hotline as the source of the tip. See, this is what they put out to muddy the waters. They're trying to act like this is, it's just salacious. It's not really true. Can't verify it. And this all just came from a tip hotline. No, this came from the actual victim. Okay, straight from the horse's mouth, if you will. Anyway, but the slideshow presentation and internal emails last summer don't cite the hotline as the source of the tip, as they do for a tip about Bill Barr. Instead, both cite the victim herself as the source of the claim, showing the FBI spoke directly with the Trump accuser. Now, why haven't they said any of this? Elsewhere on the slide, a claim about former President Bill Clinton is attributed to someone specified as not a victim. Now, while it's not clear what became of the investigation into the Trump claim, details from the tip match other records in the files, including an FBI write-up known as 302 form. That's the form that I just showed you, the spreadsheet where it showed the dates of the interviews and had them listed as 302. Of an interview with an Epstein victim and her lawyer. The interview was conducted July the 24th of 2019. That's just one of them. Remember, I just showed you there were 4. And entered into the FBI's case files on August the 9th, the day before Epstein was found dead in his cell. The first 2 pages of the interview feature redacted blocks of text. This is all getting so juicy. What are we going to find out next? Okay, what are we going to find out next? But let's continue. Lights up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, Prince Andrew, let's talk about him because he's been released, but he's still under investigation. Okay, and they said that he gave some information or he got some intelligence information and shared it with Jeffrey Epstein, like right after he got it, supposedly. And they had his Royal Lodge searched. Let's go to the footage because I think I have the live footage of that. Let me see here. Let's be nosy and see what is going on. I'm going to share my screen.
Procuring a child for prostitution, we now call that sex trafficking, walking around.
Detectives will continue searches of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's former home in Berkshire today after he was released under investigation by officers last night. The former prince was pictured in the back of a vehicle as he was driven back to the Sandringham estate from Aylsham Police Station in Norfolk. Thames Valley Police has been looking into allegations that as Britain's trade envoy, He shared official documents with the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Mr. Mountbatten-Windsor has previously denied wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. He's not responded to the BBC's request for comment. He is 8th in line to the throne and the most senior royal to be arrested since Charles I more than 350 years ago. Our correspondent Nomia Iqbal has more.
Sat back in the car, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor looks shocked and sombre. With his hands clasped, this photo marks an astonishing moment in the former prince's downfall. It shows him leaving a police station more than 11 hours after being arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. In a statement, Thames Valley Police said the arrested man has now been released under investigation. We can also confirm that our searches in Norfolk have now concluded. It is understood that police searches in Berkshire are still underway. Mr. Mountbatten-Windsor was questioned over allegations in the Epstein files that he shared official documents when he was a UK trade envoy between 2001 and 2011, including with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The King carried on with his royal engagements, opening London Fashion Week.
What's your reaction to your brother's arrest, sir?
No comment. But later, the King released a statement. As a monarch, it was clear and unequivocal. He said, "I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter." The former prince previously denied separate allegations he had sex in the early 2000s with the then teenager Virginia Giuffre. She took her own life last year. While his arrest is not related to her, Virginia's family had this to say.
I mean, it does make a difference, right? Because there's still this underlying issue of survivors not getting their day in court and not seeing judicial, legal action. However, we still are true in believing that it is the breadcrumb to the larger dinner.
The 66-year-old has consistently denied any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. For lawmakers in the US, the arrest was also a significant moment as they continue to investigate Epstein and call for accountability. They have repeatedly asked Andrew to give evidence to a congressional committee, which he is legally not obliged to do. President Trump also weighed in with this reaction.
I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing.
The royal family has traditionally been built to handle controversies. And whilst Andrew has not been charged with any offence, the impact on the royal family may be profound. Questions are now being raised if he should keep his place as 8th in line of succession to the throne. But whatever his royal position, it'll offer him no protection. Nomia Iqbal, BBC News.
Well, as we heard in that piece, there were already calls for the former prince to testify in the United States concerning what he knew about the activities of Jeffrey Epstein. Let's get the latest reaction from Washington and our correspondent Simi Jolaso.
There's been a lot of interest in the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor here in the US. It's dominated headlines with both Republicans and Democrats seeing what's going on in the UK and saying that there isn't enough accountability happening here in the US, especially considering that Epstein's network was largely based in the US and that many of his survivors are American. Republican Representative Thomas Massie, who co-sponsored the law that compelled the Justice Department to release those Epstein files, he said that the arrest was a metric he established for the success of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and that justice is now needed in the United States. That sentiment has been echoed by Democrat Representative Ro Khanna, who said, even princes are not above the law. Now, Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, that's a congressional committee that's investigating crimes related to Jeffrey Epstein. They put out a statement saying that no one connected to Epstein will escape accountability for their crimes and that this is just the beginning. Now, the committee said they are keen to hear from Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, and they will even travel to the UK to do so. They don't have any legal power to compel a foreign national to testify. But this arrest has amplified calls to hold American associates of Jeffrey Epstein to account. Now, over the next few weeks, we'll be hearing from people who knew Jeffrey Epstein, including his lawyer. He will be testifying to Congress next month. We'll also be hearing from former President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton next week. Despite all this, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, has said there is likely to not be any new charges connected to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. He says there just isn't enough evidence in the case to lead to further prosecutions.
Sumi Jolaso for us there in Washington. Well, we can speak now to royal historian and host of the podcast Where Politics Meets History, Dr. Tessa Dunlop. Hello to you. Thanks very much for coming on the programme. Tell me how you're reflecting today on this hugely significant moment for the royal family.
It is hugely significant. It's very rare that I find myself nodding in agreement to Donald Trump. But when he said this is so bad for the royal family, I'm afraid he's correct. It is. Now, although, of course, historically, we know of revolutions that have toppled monarchies, generally when it comes to the British royal family, our constitutional monarchy, things move at a pretty glacial pace. So don't expect any change, any real rupture overnight. But what this is, it's the drip, 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 the incremental ebbing away of the soft power and outstanding popularity, really, of our contemporary royal family over the last century or so. And the damage is undeniable. They've been polling at best at around about 50% of public support. And that was prior to the latest release of this very damaging tranche of Epstein files, well over 3,000 communications with the former Prince Andrew, his direct family, Fergie, his two daughters implicated in those communications. And of course, yesterday, his royal birthday, 66 years ago, born the first child to be born to a reigning monarch in over 100 years in Buckingham Palace. Doesn't matter how much they fiddle with his titles or remove him from being directly in line to the throne, he's royal. And that leaves an almighty stain on our most venerable ancient institution.
Well, and he is still 8th in line to the throne, isn't he? In terms of King Charles's response to this, he put out a statement himself fairly quickly, didn't he? And said that the law must take its course. We also understand that the king wasn't informed in advance about the impending arrest. Really, the way that King Charles responds to this is so crucial, isn't it, in terms of how the nation views the royal family. They're really trying, aren't they, to create distance between him and themselves now. What do you make of how the king has responded so far?
I think yesterday he could do none other than the statement he released, which talked about a sort of appropriate, authorities investigating full and fair, etc. But if you pull back, the lens of time will look at this, not just in the immediate surrounding events, but actually how the royal family has handled it over the last 15 plus years, because the Prince and the Pedo, that infamous headline in the News of the World alongside the picture, was released in 2011. And I think that's where the royal family will be judged for their inaction between 2011 and 2019, when Andrew gave the infamous interview, and finally there was movement around his status as a working royal. Interestingly, yes.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I think we've heard just about enough. Okay. With that being said, let's go to this next bit of information. Now, this is the report from Roger Sollenberger, where he says the underage victim included allegations against Trump. Okay, the victim, represented by Lisa Bloom's firm, reportedly received a financial settlement from the Epstein estate. Okay, and as you can see, this is notice of the voluntary dismissal, and that's because they settled. The former underage teen who told the FBI she'd been assaulted by Donald Trump, according to the Epstein files, included matching claims against an unidentified prominent wealthy man from New York in the sexual assault and trafficking complaint she first brought against Epstein's estate in 2019. Now, the accusation's presence in the complaint, which is apparently not yet reported, is additionally significant because it means the woman identified in the lawsuit as Jane Doe 4 was aware she might have to testify under oath about those very claims. Okay, she also gave 4 formal FBI interviews where it's a crime to make false statements. So the lawsuit, without citing Trump by name, restates the same claim against him that the Justice Department flagged in an internal presentation last summer, which I reported on Sunday. But it's notable that the two claims aren't identical. Now, the lawsuit, which Jane Doe 4 joined in December of 2019, elaborates on the allegation as written by the FBI in that presentation. It includes additional and warning you now, highly graphic accusations. The lawsuit also alleges that Epstein trafficked this girl to Trump, who is not named directly in the complaint, and encouraged him and other powerful men to treat her brutally. Okay, I want y'all to listen to that. Treat her brutally. And you think Trump didn't do just that? However, as I reported a few hours ago, the DOJ's Epstein file database also appears to be missing 3 out of 4 interviews that the woman gave the FBI. They're just not there. So we don't know a lot of what she said in those interviews. And why do you think we don't know? Why are they hiding these interviews? This is stuff that they never want to come to the surface. Like I told you all yesterday, when Trump goes down, they're all going down. And they all know it. That's why the cover-up is so severe, where the DOJ redacted several paragraphs. Now, we don't know when and where the woman confirmed the claim, which first came in through a friend who called the FBI tip line, in which, according to the DOJ statements in that slideshow, the woman confirmed at some point to the DOJ. Okay, so apparently someone did call in a tip, but yet still they actually spoke to the woman several times. Okay, so that's what they left out. So here's how the FBI phrased her allegation on that internal presentation last summer. And this is from information from one of the slides, okay, from that PowerPoint presentation. Okay, redacted, stated Epstein introduced her to Trump, subsequently forced her. Okay, I already read you all that part. Okay, but the lawsuit says that in addition to those alleged abuses, this same unnamed attacker also forcibly raped her. It's not clear from the complaint if all of these alleged events happened on the same occasion. Now, the lawsuit also states that Epstein flew this victim from her South Carolina home to New York City several times, where he took her to intimate gatherings with other prominent wealthy men as fresh meat. Here's the lawsuit claim verbatim, emphasis mine. Jane Doe was brutally and forcibly battered, assaulted, and raped by these other men she met through Epstein. On one occasion, one of the prominent men forcibly slapped Jane Doe in the face after she was forced to perform oral blank on him. Now, this same man forcibly raped her, penetrating her from the front and the back. On the information and belief, Epstein was aware of and indeed encouraged the assault of Jane Doe 4 by these other men. Can you all imagine this happening to someone and multiple people doing this? It's so disgusting. Okay, horrific to even imagine. Now, for your benefit and reference, here are Jane Doe's 4 statements in full from her class action complaint against the Epstein estate. Okay, at all relevant times, Jane Doe 4 was a minor under the age of 18. Jane Doe first met Epstein in or around 1984 in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. On information and belief, Epstein had rented and or leased a vacation home from Jane Doe 4's mother, a local real estate agent in Hilton Head Island. Now, as was common in the area, Jane Doe 4 offered babysitting services to the tourist renting property from her mother. Jane Doe 4 was approximately 13 years old at the time when Epstein was first hired Jane Doe 4 to work as a babysitter. Now, if you all remember, I told you all about this the other day. I told y'all because I actually found this in the files myself. Okay, this is the same thing I already found. Okay, so I'm gonna skip past this because I told you all how the girl's mother just sold her out. If you ask me, her mother was pimping her out. Her mother knew darn well that Jeffrey Epstein, at least in my opinion, that Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a wife and kids, but she's sending her daughter over there at the age of 13, telling her to go and babysit for this man. But instead, when she got there, he gave her illegal substances, and she says that he obviously put something in her drink because she started to pass out and she couldn't recollect everything that happened. Okay, so we already know that part. Now, Jane Doe 4 reportedly walked away with a financial settlement from the estate, which the case docket indicates would have been finalized sometime around December of 2021. The government gave Maxwell's counsel all 4 of the victims' FBI interviews the previous month. So they do have those interviews, or they gave them to Ghislaine Maxwell's counsel. Okay, and like I told you all, that's some of what helped to get her convicted. So it had to be true, or at least believed to have been true. Okay? I'm going to say it's true. I find this also egregious. These devils are really thinking they're going to get away with it. Now, again, the reason this is significant is because this is a public record matching the FBI's internally documented and previously entirely unknown to the public child S abuse allegation against Trump. It also appears to tie Epstein directly to her Trump allegations, claiming essentially that Epstein trafficked her to Trump when she was just a child. So I want you all to pay attention. He's busted. Okay, they can miss us with a Todd Blanche. You can go straight to hell if you think that Trump's not going to prison where he belongs. Okay, the only way he's not going to prison, in my opinion, is if he drops dead first. Okay, because we know he has health issues. Now, the White House has said Trump didn't do anything wrong and kicked Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago resort compound in the 2000s for being a creep. Trump's the creep. I haven't asked the White House for comment for any of these stories. I reached out to a DOJ spokesperson for the first story and still haven't heard back. So they owe me one first, 2 actually. Oh, honey, this is a good investigative journalist because the lamestream media, legacy media, they're not reporting a lot of this stuff. They're not putting out a lot of this information. Okay, that's what they're not doing. Now let's talk about Zorro Ranch. Because I told you all about Zorro Ranch the other day. And how they were saying that there were bodies buried there. And now, is his name Tom Huffines or Don Huffines? The guy who's running in Texas, I think. Huffines has purchased that property. Okay? In the last article, we walked through an FBI tip that named a Trump-owned golf course in California and showed no public record of follow-up. I want you to notice the pattern. A significant tip is brought forward. The tip is formally logged, followed by silence. They don't investigate. They don't do any sort of follow-up. Now, this piece continues to expand on that pattern. Now, mind you, this is all coming from Sadia Mirza, another journalist. Okay, so hidden within the newly released Epstein files is another detailed set of allegations, again reported directly to the FBI, again formally summarized, and again followed by no visible investigative trail. They just don't give a darn. They have not looked into any of these things. This time, the location is Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, and the complaint involves alleged video evidence, and a claimed burial location. They know where the bodies are buried. They know where the bodies are buried. I want y'all to pay attention, because why did Huffines purchase this property? He doesn't know anything about this. He's running for political office. Yeah. And I do believe that he's friends with Trump. Pretty good friends. Okay. Now, with that all being said, a claimed burial location for 2 girls. I'm going to share my screen because she also includes a document in here, and I'm not sure if I have gone over this document. Okay, you all see this? And this is dated November the 25th of 2019. Edward, this is sensitive, so it will be the first and last email, depending on your discretion. You can choose to take it or trash it, but this comes from a person that has been there and seen it all as a former staff at Zorro. Well, I'll just be damned. Now, I haven't read this. I just saw it as I'm going. Here's the thing, beloveds. You all know I have so many receipts. You all know that I show you a lot of receipts. Okay, sometimes I don't get to read through all of them. I see a title from a credible journalist or publication, and I just send it to my email and read it first online with you all, because I can't read through all of this stuff. I mean, I could, but it would take me forever, and then have to get back on here and reread all of it again. Okay, so I have not read this one. Now, she goes on to say, you can choose to trash it. You can choose to take it or trash it, but it comes from a person that has been there and seen it all as a former staff at Zorro. Now, the material below was taken from Jeffrey Epstein's home as my insurance in case of future litigation against Epstein. Sorry, no questions. What is damning about Jeffrey Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro, 2 foreign girls were buried on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G. Both died by strangulation during rough fetish sex. Now, I did report that to you because I found that document myself too. But the thing is, I didn't know that they had confirmation of the 2 girls being buried there or had the information on exactly the location where the bodies were buried. I did not know that. That's why I was saying they need to go and start digging. So, and also let's not forget that Huffines, who's now purchased it, said he's going to turn it into like a Christian resort or something like that for Christians. Imagine that. What real Christian would want to have anything to do with that ranch? Okay, even if the allegations are false. Okay, why would they want to have anything to do with it? Okay, because they don't know if the allegations are false. And quite frankly, most of the evidence points to them being absolutely true, because this isn't the only time someone has said there was bodies buried at Zorro Ranch. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, here are the video footage of Jeffrey Epstein. Well, unfortunately, we don't have this, but it just goes to show that they did have videos, and it shows you the length of the videos. Here's one that says 13 minutes and 57 seconds. SEX video with a minor. 27 minutes and 3 seconds. Threesome video. 12 minutes, 54 seconds, another threesome. 19 minutes, underage girl, SEX video. 7 minutes, underage girl, Matthew Mellon video. Wonder who Matthew Mellon is. I need to look him up. 23 minutes, underage girl, great fantasy video. And then 15 minutes, 19 seconds, girl from Bay Area self-deletion attempt confession to Madam G. And they have the audio from that. Do y'all hear this? Please arrange 1 Bitcoin by 6 p.m. Okay, Eastern Standard Time today. I find this all interesting. Now, the FBI is, the document is an FBI Guardian complaint form created after Edward Oregon went in person to the Albuquerque FBI office in November 2019 to report an email he had received. And Oregon is a New Mexico-based radio host who runs the show Rock of Talk, where he has spent years publicly discussing and investigating Jeffrey Epstein and Zorro Ranch. According to the accompanying document synopsis, the email offered material for price and claimed knowledge of burned victims at the ranch. Now, this is the report right here. So it goes on to say, the synopsis states that Edward Oregon came to the Albuquerque office of the FBI to report an email he received offering 7 videos of sexual abuse and the location of 2 foreign girls buried on Zorro Ranch. The complaint referenced alleged video evidence, named Jeffrey Epstein directly, and identified a specific property already tied to longstanding allegations of abuse involving children. It also specifically mentions that there is a location of 2 foreign girls that were buried on Zorro Ranch. Okay, do I need to read the rest of this? Okay, so I think that pretty much sums it up. But let me tell you what's going on now. Trump has been blocked out. Some of these people, I hate when this happens. Hold on, beloveds. Trump has been blocked out of the military, blocked from the military use of the military bases in the UK, which they're saying they're not going to allow him access so he can attack Iran. Okay, so he can attack Iran. Hold on, let me see something real quick. Okay, now let me pull this up. I'm going to share my screen. to show you all Trump's post, because they said the UK is blocking Trump from using RAF bases for strikes on Iran. The disagreement over the use of British sites is behind the US president's withdrawal of support for the Chacos Island deal. Okay, now this is what was reported. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this long post that Trump put out. Let me see if I can enlarge this just a little bit. Okay, here we go. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. All the receipts are coming out. Now, this is what he says. I have been telling Prime Minister Keir Starmer of the United Kingdom that leases are no good when it comes to countries, and that he is making a big mistake by entering a 100-year lease with whoever it is that is claiming right title and the interest to Diego Garcia, strategically located in the Indian Ocean. Our relationship with the United Kingdom is a strong and powerful one, and it has been for many years. But Prime Minister Starmer is losing control of this important island by claims of entities never known before. Okay, in our own, now hold on. He said never known before. What is the name of that island? Hold on, beloveds. It's the island of Mauritius. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Let me look up the pronunciation of it. But Donald Trump is saying he's never heard of this before. I heard of it before. Okay, I've seen this in things that I've read about before. Hold on. Meritorious. Okay, that's the name of it. Meritorious. So anyway, Trump said, listen to this idiot, because just because he hasn't heard of it before, he's going to act like it doesn't exist. That's how much of an idiot he really is. Okay, so he goes on to say, where was I? Okay, our relationship with the United Kingdom is a strong and powerful one, and it has been for many years. But Prime Minister Starmer is losing control of this important island by claims of entities never known of before. Never known to him. That's what he should have said. In our opinion, they are fictitious in nature. That's what he said. It doesn't exist. It's fictitious. Should Iran decide not to make a deal, it may be necessary for the United States to use Diego Garcia and the airfield located in Fairford in order to eradicate a political or potential attack by a highly unstable and dangerous regime. An attack that would potentially be made on the United Kingdom as well as other friendly countries. Prime Minister Starmer should not lose control for any reason of Diego Garcia by entering a tenuous at best 100-year lease. Now, this land should not be taken away from the UK, and if it is allowed to be, it will be a blight on our great ally. We will always be ready, willing, and able to fight for UK, but they have to remain strong in the face of wokeism and other problems put before them. Do not give away Diego Garcia. First of all, now he's trying to act like he's trying to help them, but he was really going in on them, okay? He was really going in on them, but now he's acting like he's trying to help. I find this also interesting. Trump is a whole idiot. Okay, he is a complete idiot. Now, let me take that back down to size. So anyway, with that all being said, the problem is their lies are starting to unravel. The truth's going to continue to come out. People are not going to stop going through those files. And, even if they say they're not going to release the rest of those files, I think there's still going to be other arrests made, hopefully. Okay, I really hope so. Now, let me go to this video that someone claims. I think someone said they found this in the Epstein files. Because I haven't gone through all of the files. As I told you, I've gone through so many. But here's what this guy says. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. I can't tell you. But hold on. Let's go to his video and listen to what he says, because it's really disgusting. And it may be true, because we've already heard, in the files, we've already seen how they were talking about these babies being killed and their intestines being taken out and all of that. These people are so sick.
There's thousands of us. There's thousands of us out there. Those people that are somebody else's will, that's us. We are the somebody else's will. And we're going to tell you now that Pizzagate is real. We went through the files, we saw it for ourselves, and we don't want you to see it. But here's a little tick and taste. I saw a child that was deboned and rolled up like a chicken to be rotisserized, to be eaten, of course. There was another one that was more of an adolescent, probably a 10-year-old, your little sister, your little brother, somebody real dear to you that is about that age. Just imagine that somebody decapitated them, gutted them, and are rotisserizing them over a fire. They were prepared to do that. That's what we saw. And I really hope that this will wake you up and that you all will try to see what's really going on here. I know that it's hard to grasp for a lot of you, but there is a group on Facebook that's called Pursuing Justice for All, and you'll know which one it is because it has an American flag and We the People on there. Just to go and follow that, and you'll find like-minded creators that I've been posting in there, similar posts of exposing the Epstein files. They're a lot better at all this digital stuff than I am. I will get better as I go, but hopefully you will follow me through all of this. Thank you all.
Okay, so Trump thinks he thought it was gonna be so easy, but now he's running scared. He's in full panic mode. I want you to pay attention. And then I also want to tell you guys that we're supposed to be boycotting his State of the Union address. Okay. People are supposed to be boycotting his State of the Union address. And then also Trump he was looking so stupid yesterday when he came to Georgia. He was in Rome, Georgia. Now, why was he in Rome, Georgia? And I mean, that's because, he doesn't like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They've been beefing, going back and forth. And so that's her home district. So he went to Rome, Georgia, and he couldn't even get a full crowd. It was like 50 to 100 people. It was so ridiculous. Okay. And it's like, people are starting to realize that Trump is just lying, except for his stupid MAGA minions. Now, let's go to this clip of Les Wexner, because his deposition has been released, the full deposition. I'm not going to show the full deposition. It's like over 4 hours, if I'm not mistaken. But here is a clip of his lawyer cursing at him. Okay, he laughs it off, but his lawyer basically curses at him and says, if you effing say anything else or something any more than give any answers longer than 5 minutes, he just basically goes in on him. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen.
Video released Thursday of a 5-hour deposition of retail magnate Les Wexner shows the billionaire repeatedly insisting he knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, adding that law enforcement had never spoken with him.
Did you at any time ever consider him to be a close friend?
No. As I look back at it, I was conned by the world Olympic all-time con artist. And you look at, I read in the news all the people he knew, royalty, kings, princes, and all that. An incredible con artist.
Has the FBI or DOJ ever directly contacted you or spoken to you about?
Not to my knowledge.
Never.
Did you speak to any law enforcement agency of any kind regarding Jeffrey Epstein's investigation in New York in 2019?
Never did. No, I don't remember ever talking to any law enforcement agency.
At one point, his lawyer, Michael Levy, whispered some advice.
Answer not the question. 5 words, okay? Answer not the question.
Okay, you see that? Lawyer basically telling him not to cooperate. And of course he would, because he doesn't want him to go to prison. Okay? He doesn't want him to go to prison. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about this boycott. Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this video. This is from Midas Touch. Shout out to them because they're doing excellent work covering the stuff.
Honest, nobody wants to watch Donald Trump's State of the Union next week. Nobody wants to see him lie and gaslight and try to troll lawmakers. So here's what we're doing. Midas Touch and Move On are hosting the People's State of the Union on the National Mall in D.C. as Democrats boycott Trump's address. It's going to be hosted by Katie Fang and Joy Reid. We're going to feature lawmakers alongside federal workers, immigrants, and Americans who have been impacted by Trump's policies, and you could watch it on the Midas Touch YouTube channel. Here's the official poster right here. You can see the People's State of the Union. It's going to be February 24th. That's Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And we are featuring Senators Ed Markey, Jeff Merkley, Chris Murphy, Tina Smith, Chris Van Hollen, Representatives Ansari, Ballant, Kassar, Jayapal, Ramirez, and more. And it is hosted, as I said, by Katie Fang and Joy Reid. Be there on the Midas Touch YouTube channel. Tune in. This is going to be big, folks. Okay, let's be honest. Nobody.
Okay, I'm not going to watch it either because I darn sure don't want to hear any lies. Okay, and who does? Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Jared Kushner. And I want you all to pay attention. Because the information that's coming out on Jared Kushner at this point, I already told you all. Please pay attention. Okay, didn't I tell you all? You heard it here first. Didn't I tell you all how Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, was good friends and has been in bed with Benjamin Netanyahu? And I mean that literally. He said Benjamin Netanyahu stayed at his house and slept in his bed. That's what he said. His father, Charles Kushner, is very good friends with him too. Jared Kushner is the one pulling the strings. He's the one in Trump's ear. I've been telling you this. Now everybody else is taking note and following suit. Okay, please pay attention. With that all being said, let's get into it. And if you also remember, I showed you all a picture about a couple of months ago, at least a month or so ago. I showed you all a picture of all of these politicians all lined up, right? And they were at a meeting. And why the hell was Jared Kushner there? He has no official title. Okay, he's not a part of Trump's administration officially. So why is he negotiating things and why is he sitting in on meetings and all of this? Like, this is absolutely crazy, right? But let's talk about it because he's been running things. He absolutely has been running things. Okay, and I'm about to pull up the receipts. Or more receipts, shall I say. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. We're also going to have a Black History moment today after I finish discussing this stuff.
To the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, a highly classified whistleblower complaint involving Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is circulating in Washington, and it references both Jared Kushner and Iran. The complaint reportedly stems from an intercepted conversation between two foreign nationals. That intercept was collected by a foreign intelligence service. The whistleblower alleges that Gabbard restricted access to the intelligence and delayed its broader distribution within US intelligence agencies and to.
Now, please pay attention because I reported this to you last week, I do believe, about Tulsi Gabbard hiding whistleblower information where they complained on her. Well, Jared Kushner is involved in it too, allegedly.
Congress. News of the complaint has raised further concerns that Gabbard may have been blocking a full investigation into the claims contained in the document. The whistleblower submission, filed in May 2025, states that the National Security Agency detected a phone conversation between foreign intelligence officials and a person linked to Trump. Instead of allowing the NSA to circulate its intelligence report through standard channels, Gabbard allegedly brought a paper copy to White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles and directed the NSA to send the details to her office. Senior officials told the Wall Street Journal that the allegations discussed in the intercept were unverified and in some cases demonstrably false. However, others familiar with the material said the reference to Kushner intensified scrutiny because of his involvement in sensitive diplomatic efforts. Now, both the Times and the Journal report that the details identify the person mentioned in the intercepted conversation as Kushner. Two foreign nationals were reportedly discussing Iran when his name came up in the intercept. Officials familiar with the matter said there was confusion over whether Gabbard deliberately kept the references to Kushner confidential. At the time, Kushner was involved in Middle East peace talks despite holding no official role in the Trump administration. His business interests in the region have also drawn repeated concerns about potential conflicts of interest. According to the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, I
want y'all to pay attention. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Okay. Why is he having peace talks and he has no official position? I told you all, that's who's pulling the strings. That's the one that told Trump to have them to try to have them pardon Benjamin Netanyahu.
How did the White House decide that it is appropriate for Jared Kushner to be working on matters that involve Qatar, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, 3 countries that combined have given him more than $2.5 billion for his investment firm?
I think it's frankly despicable that you're trying to suggest that it's inappropriate for Jared Kushner, who is widely respected around the world.
How did the White House decide?
That's all she had to say about that. She didn't answer the question. Okay, she didn't answer the question. She just wanted to insult him. That's what they always do. That is what they always do. Gaslight and deflect.
I want to thank the entire team that's worked so hard at this.
Now, I want you all to listen to Jared Kushner's bullish speech where he's trying to act like they're doing something and nobody's profiting, nobody's making money. Didn't they give you billions? Okay, didn't they give you billions? Yeah, you're right. Nobody is profiting except him and Trump. Okay, and their minions.
A lot of these people are volunteers. They're doing this not for any personal gain. People are not personally profiting from this. They are really doing this for their children and for their grandchildren and because they want to see peace. And I really want to thank the entire team that's worked so hard at.
Now, he's not lying about that. When he says that they're doing this for their children and grandchildren, yes, they're building their generational wealth. Okay, this is a whole grift. Okay, please pay attention.
A lot of these people are volunteers. They're doing this not for any personal gain. People are not personally profiting from this. They are really doing this for their children and for their grandchildren and because they want to see peace. And I really want to thank the entire team.
Please sit down somewhere, sir. And you know, they say some of MAGA is turning on Trump because they're saying that he's compromised. Oh, so now they finally are seeing the light.
Something really interesting and honestly pretty revealing is happening inside of MAGA right now. For years, MAGA has been united around one idea. Donald Trump is the victim of the media, of the Democrats, of the deep state. But now, parts of MAGA are turning suspicion inward. Right-wing influencers and Telegram channels are circulating what they're calling a bombshell document, claiming Trump is compromised and acting in Israel's interest. And who do they say is behind it? Jared Kushner. They're actually arguing that Kushner, not Trump, is running policy, shaping decisions and pulling strings. That Trump is either influenced, trolled, or sidelined. Now, let me be clear. This is speculative. These claims are not proven, but the shift itself is the story. Because MAGA used to treat Kushner's criticism as off limits. Trump's whole entire family was untouchable. Now they're openly saying a foreign policy handler is running the country. This tells you two things. One, MAGA's trust in Trump is cracking, even if they won't say it outright. And two, when movements built on conspiracy lose a clear enemy, they eventually start eating their own. Whether this theory collapses or grows, the fact that MAGA is now accusing Trump of being compromised is something no one would have predicted a few years ago. Watch this space right here. The fracture is real. I've been saying it for a while. It's getting louder and louder and harder to ignore. Share your thoughts in the
Okay, let's keep going. Because Jared Kushner, remember how Trump said, I reported to you like a month or two ago, how Trump said that he wanted to turn, it probably was longer than that, if my memory serves me correct. I think it was actually longer, but remember when I told you all that Trump said he wanted to turn Gaza into a resort? It looks like they're serious. And Jared Kushner was behind it all, in my opinion, because now that's what he's talking about doing. He's got all these big plans and fancy ideas. Okay?
Talking about Jared Kushner as he unveils this master plan at the Board of Peace meeting. And a few days ago, we actually did release a video that dug deeper into his background. So I'm going to play a little bit of that here. And if you can, just respond. Do you think all of these things here are coincidence? Or is there something more going on with Jared Kushner? Share in the comments. Why are many talking about Jared Kushner? Well, I'm sure you've seen him pop up a lot lately, and admittedly, he is an interesting guy. In Trump's first term, it was Jared Kushner who came out of nowhere and started to broker Middle East peace deals. It was Kushner who developed the Abraham Accords deal. It was Kushner who helped to set up the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem exactly 70 years on its anniversary. It was Kushner who just recently, even though he holds no official White House position, instituted a major Israel deal between nations this term. And it was Kushner who advised this administration on what could happen if Gaza was vacated and then rebuilt. And now we see he is making plans to turn Gaza into an AI-driven smart city with his Project Sunrise plan. And ironically, Kushner knew the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, since he was a child. It's just interesting how he now is in the mix of all of this, and people are noticing that all of these things are just happening rapidly. They're scratching their heads. And when you look further into Kushner, many are also finding it interesting that it was also Kushner who made history with one of the largest real estate purchases when he acquired the 666 building as his company's office. And of course, what a coincidence there, 666, right? Of course, that would just have to be one of the largest purchases in the United States, the 666 building by Jared Kushner. And then you have people making the point that his name translates into 666 with Hebrew gematria. And then, some say, well, even his height is 6'3", 6'3". So you have all of these coincidences with the number 666. You have all of these negotiations with Israel. So you already know people are going to say that this is sounding like something out of a Left Behind End Times movie. Some even jokingly say that he reminds them of the kid from The Omen, all grown up. No comment on that.
I'm not even joking. He absolutely, I thought I was the only, I didn't know other people were thinking this. That's exactly what it reminds me of, him and Barron Trump. And some people say that him and Barron Trump favor, but he actually does look like Damien from Omen, okay? If you saw that movie, he absolutely looks like him. And maybe he's the Antichrist, okay? But one of these devils absolutely is, in my opinion.
So, the internet is going crazy, and that's why there is video after video being made about him. In fact, if you even go to his personal Instagram page, well, look at these comments. And these comments, I mean, they don't hold back. They were just calling him this. And, most people would turn off the comments at this point, but it's almost like Kushner is just bold with it. He doesn't care. When people see figures like Jared Kushner making moves like this, and they see all of the coincidences with 666, and oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this, the amount that he purchased the 666 building for was 1.8 billion, 600 million times 3. It's just another coincidence, right? And there's so many of them. And so when people see this, it's easy to immediately say, oh yeah, that's the AC. He's got to be the AC. But we have to remember something very important. Revelation chapter 13 shows that there will be 3 end times figures on the scene, not just the AC. Antichrist king, the false prophet. There will be an evil trinity. Now, I wouldn't expect Satan to literally show up and appear as a dragon. No. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Satan tries to figure out a way to disguise himself as a human.
Now, I want you all to pay attention to what he just said about the Bible prophesying that there will be 3 people that would come, or 3 devils, entities that would come. Not just the Antichrist, but 3. Now, what have I been telling you all? Okay, I said, first of all, Antichrist is not necessarily a person, it's an energy. And I do believe that's the energy they were trying to raise when they did that thing at Project CERN. And let's not forget the demonic satanic ritual they did at Project CERN, which I showed you all years ago. And then they tried to say it was a prank. Okay, first of all, who are you pranking when no one saw it but you? These were the people there. They were caught on camera. Little did they know they would be exposed. But That's what I think they were trying to do, raise that Antichrist energy. And you also may remember that the collider, when they activated it, there was some sort of ghost-like black substance, okay, some sort of figure. Do you all remember that? Okay, so now I told you that's an energy, right? And energy is contagious. And I told you that I feel like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, that's the two people I named. And so now people are thinking Jared Kushner. Okay, so yeah, that might be the three. Okay, please pay attention. Vince, I am from the UK. Hey, beloved, says exactly, Queen. I remember you sharing that info. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue because this is all nefarious.
Scripture says that a time is coming when there will be peace and security, but then after that, destruction will come. What's interesting about Jared Kushner, though, is something that many have been bringing to our attention: the meaning of Kushner's name. You see, one thing about the Bible is that the name of an individual is often linked to their purpose and identity. We see that with Jesus, Yeshua. Yeshua means salvation. Jesus came, brought salvation. The name Emmanuel is also linked to Christ, and that name means God with us. Abraham, that's a name that means father of many nations. So one's name is very important. And let's look at what the name of Kushner, Jared, means. Kushner, many have mentioned that his name in the Hebrew refers to descend or descent. Many have also noted that scholars sometimes connect that to the fallen angels when they descend to the earth, which is interesting. Also,
Now, I'm sorry. Didn't I tell you all there were fallen angels? Did I not tell you all that? I told you they're the Nephilim, and that's what they're hiding in the files. The rest of the files that they're trying to hide in the videos and all that 50 terabytes, that's what's hidden in there. Okay, the Most High showed it to me in a dream. I told you all, they are the Nephilim that the book of Enoch speaks of. That's why they can drink blood. That's why they can eat flesh. They do these satanic rituals and have the demons enter them. Okay, because here's the thing. Actually eating and drinking blood could make you very sick. Okay, so they can't be human. You can die as a human being. You could die from something called blood poisoning. Okay, so you should ask yourselves, how could humans be consuming this blood like this all willy-nilly? Well, that's because they're not human. And I told you all that. I've been told you all they're not human. These are the Nephilim. Okay, please pay attention. Fallen angels.
so few have noted that the name Jared appears in the Bible in 3 separate books. And in each book, he's referred to as being the 6th generation. And so that's interesting that, many have pointed that out. People are saying, well, they're connecting him with this whole 6th thing again, right? In Genesis 5, he's shown to be the 6th, and then the Chronicles, the 6th, and Luke, the 6th from Adam. So they're saying that's some type of an interesting pattern. And I'm just sharing these things because these are things that people have been talking about in the comments. I want to present them to you. People have said that Jared, the generation of Jared, is when the Watchers or the fallen angels came to the earth, right? And that seems to be the truth. We see that right after Jared's generation, that's when there's this story of the angelic beings coming down and interfering with humanity and creating the Nephilim giants, right? And that was during the Jared generation. And so many are saying that there's some type of a type with the name Jared and descent and fallen, and also with fallen angels, right? Now, this is just interesting things. And someone posted this, and I did find it interesting. Check it out.
Jared Kushner wants to build AI hubs, cloud storage, and digital ID systems in Gaza, while a bunch of billionaires have backed him, calling it the future. But I'm telling you, this feels a lot less like business and a lot more like Bible. They're talking about creating a tax-free digital zone. It would be a smart city powered by artificial intelligence and global data. When you centralize data, identity, and control in one system, it sounds like the infrastructure of the beast. Revelation 13 says a system will rise who controls who can buy or sell. What people don't realize is that it doesn't start with a mark, it starts with a network. Digital ID, global databases, AI systems, it's all connecting right now, piece by piece. This isn't conspiracy, it's prophecy. The world is being prepared for a false kingdom. While they build their Tower of Babel out of code and silicone, the true king still sits on his throne. So stay awake, stay faithful, because the beast is building, but so is God.
And who you think's gonna win, honey? It won't be the beast. That's for sure. These people are so sick and disgusted. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on, there was another video I had about him. Let me see if this is it. Okay, let's go to Aaron Parnas's video.
May not believe me, but it is. If I would have told you 6 months ago that this is a real headline, you would have told me I was crazy. But it's real, and now he's sweating. That's Andrew, formerly known as Prince Andrew, by the way. If I would have told you a year ago that the Epstein files, 3 million of them, would have been released to the public, redacted or unredacted, you would have called me crazy. If I told you just a month ago that criminal charges would be filed against Andrew or the former Norwegian Prime Minister, you would have told me I was crazy. Or that all these wealthy and powerful people would be losing their jobs, you also would have told me I was crazy. It's coming. It's slow, and it's not fast enough, but it's coming. And we're going to continue working until full accountability is met, full justice for the survivors. And that means bringing down every powerful person, every wealthy person, anyone involved in criminality, regardless whether they have an R or a D next to their name. We're going to bring them all down. And it may take several months, it may take years, but we will not stop. I will not rest until that happens. Accountability is coming. Now, you may not.
Okay, and none of us should rest. Now let's go to Allie Carter with her stupid, ignorant self. Allie Carter is nothing but a liar and a clout chaser. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. There is a video that she posted. Hold on. Damn it. Okay, they want me to log in to share this. Hold on, let me see if I can find this really quick and just let you all listen to it. But she's sitting here basically saying that Trump is not in the files or Trump never assaulted her. Okay, even if he never assaulted her, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Okay, I think this is it. Epstein survivor. Yeah, and MAGA is using this to their advantage. Okay, they're like, oh, Epstein survivor Allie Carter is saying that Trump had nothing to do with it. Get the F out of here. Allie Carter is not an Epstein survivor. She's a lying piece of ish who heard all this stuff on the internet, because we've been talking about this stuff for years now. Okay. We've been talking about this stuff for years now. All she did, her and her alleged adopted mother, they've just been telling a bunch of lies. And I'm sorry for the fools that believe her, but listen to this crap. Hold on. Wrong video. Hold on, beloveds. Let me mute myself until I pull up the right one. Okay, listen. Now here's one she did from a week ago. I'm telling you right now, for those of you who are just now watching this video, like, hey, let me see what's going on. Hi, I'm Allie. Yes, hi. Allie Carter. Yes, that's me. My mother, right here, this tall glass of tin of water is right next to me. Hello. And I would turn the camera this way, but you could see her through me. We look just alike. So she's doing something. But do y'all understand? You remember when I asked everybody, how the hell do her and this lady look just alike when the woman is white? And the woman looks nothing like her. But let's continue. Be like, who you think you're bucking at? Who you think you're bucking at? When you asked for the Epstein files, who you think you're bucking at? How many of you got called crazy? Conspiracy theorists. The people blocked you. Friends, family that you've been rocking with for years called you a liar. Stay off the internet. It's not true. Right? Right? Okay, so now if you were one of those people, I'm talking to you. Scooch over 90s, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you 70s. That if you were one of those people that had that uneducated response, I need you to understand that the people who have tried to hold their shit together and feed you the most realest shit of your life, we are absolutely annoyed. So if one of them bites your fucking head off for you coming back now, like, oh my God, this is going on and I didn't know, no shit. No shit, Sherlock. We tried to tell you. You called everybody crazy. Why don't you listen the first damn time? How about that? This is why we have children in this situation. And I've been telling y'all from the get, every time we got distracted. Okay, she's talking too much. Listen, I'm gonna try to find the exact video where she specifically says she's going in on people for blaming Trump. Hold on. Okay, here she is claiming that she was never tortured by Trump. I don't think she was ever tortured by anyone other than that lady she calls her stepmom. Okay. Trump. And if I was, I damn sure don't know about it. But I was never tortured by Trump. That's not the point. But the fact that some of you are mad at me because I won't say that is telling. Why are we just having a conversation just about Trump like he's the only, we said we saw his name and all this stuff. Okay, because if it was, all of it was what it says it was, why wasn't that information out in 2016? Newsflash, the information was out in 2016. Okay, I have the receipts. But let's continue listening because she thinks she's cooking. The information, hold on, the information was out in 2016 before Trump, or when Trump was running for president. They hid the information. The FBI hid the information. Okay, it was out. But let's continue. Election, they drug out everything on that man. Why did they pull out that info? But let's just knock politics off the table for a second. If you were just focused on Trump's name, you do not get it. We're talking about children. We're talking about children. Children! Trump. Now, here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention to how stupid and ignorant she is. Like, this girl is so ignorant, it really is annoying. And I feel bad for anybody who believed anything she said, okay? She and other people, I'm not going to call names, but there's some other people that are just liars. All they do is collect information that has been online for years and act as though, and insert themselves into it to act as though they were there and saw something. If they actually saw any darn thing, why haven't they been talked to, spoken to? Why haven't they gone to the police? Why don't they have police reports? Now, Nia says Allie Carter was telling people that she was the girl in the JC videos. The real woman came forward, and then Allie had the nerve to say she thought it was her. What the hell? Exactly. I remember that. Girl, you didn't know if it was you or not. Who doesn't know themselves? Who doesn't know if they were in a video? And then if you didn't know, maybe you were given illegal substances, because I think she tried to say something about that. Well, you don't know what you look like? Okay, get the F out of here. Full of crap. Okay, full of crap. But hold on, because I have some documents that I almost forgot. I told you I'll be having so many receipts. It's very hard to keep track sometimes. Hold on. Because I have some documents. Let me see here. And I think these may be the documents that show that they were talking about this in 2016. Hold on, let me just see. But I do know that I have evidence from 2016. Okay. Now this is dated October the 16th of 2020. Let's go to this. This is an FBI report. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, this is it right here. Now let's talk about it. Okay, so Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, CHS learned that Dershowitz influenced many students from wealthy families. Okay. For example, Josh Kushner and Jared Kushner. Okay, they were both his students. Wait a minute. I read this to you all before. We've already seen this. Yeah, I've already read this to you all. At least some of it. I don't think I had this whole file, but I did tell you all previously that Dershowitz absolutely was dealing with these rich kids, and it was Josh and Jared Kushner. Okay, but so anyway, let's go on further. Marsha Drakova, telephone number is redacted. Okay, it's based in Silicon Valley. She has been running a firm called Day One Ventures, which is supposedly an early stage investment company. She used to be Russian President Vladimir Putin's main contact in the Russian youth movement. CHS and Drakova spoke, but Drakova did not talk at all about technology. Instead, she looked at CHS and said, "You knew Epstein, didn't you?" She said Epstein was a wonderful man and that it was a crying shame what had been done to him. Ha! What kind of idiot is this that thinks it was a crying shame? Okay, CHS concluded Day One Ventures was in Silicon Valley to steal technology. Okay, let me go down a little bit further. I want to read this whole thing. Okay, CHS advised Chabad is doing everything they can to co-opt the Trump presidency. Well, it sounds like they've already been co-opted, if you ask me. Now, Chabad is basically state-sanctioned. I'm not going to say that word. It is used by Putin to keep tabs on all the Russo-Jewish oligarchs. On the day Trump was elected president, Ivanka Trump and Jared were at the gravesite of Rabbi Shursim, who was the most powerful rabbi in the Chabad network. Jared didn't disclose his stake in cadre because of his ties to the Russian state. Now, CHS believed this was or is the real Russian collusion story. Kushner has moved a lot of Russian investment money around. Now, the FBI should investigate Kushner's family charities to find evidence of corruption and money laundering. Okay, this is the information about Kushner. Now, Chabad routinely uses the charities to launder money. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Now, this is in the files. That's where I found it at. CHS provided the attached article entitled Jim McGreevey and his main man by Craig Horowitz, published September the 10th of 2004. While the article is old and centered on Charles Kushner, and that's Jared's father, okay, it highlights and documents the deep ties the Kushner family has with Israel. Okay, I'm going to say it, Israel. That's who they have deep ties to, according to this, and their history of corrupt business practices and alleged violations of election laws. Do y'all hear this? CHS stated that if the FBI is serious about investigating the Kushners and their relationship with Middle East, they would look closely at Ken Kurson, who knows about investigating. Hold on. Who knows about everything. I'm sorry, I went to the wrong line. Who knows about everything. Now, CHS advised Henry Kissinger introduced Charles to Hu Tiankai, the Chinese ambassador to the U.S., a relationship that could have been helpful at around the same time of the introduction. Anbang was entering negotiations with the Kushners over 666 Fifth Avenue. Okay, so they're basically alleging that these charities are being used for money laundering. Now, Harry Teo Snay Dingjo, okay, was, and I guess they just call him Harry, that's what I'll call him because that name is too long, has been involved, has developed Trump's hotels and is a billionaire. Harry blank, that part's redacted, introduced him or her to the Indonesian CIA. Harry speaks Indonesian, and Harry bought his Beverly Hills home from Trump at an inflated price. Blank was at Harry's house with Harry when Harry blanked that Trump told him that he was going to F Amazon over their military contracts. Now, hold on. Why did they bleep out that word? Harry, listen to this. Let me go back. Blank was at Harry's house when Harry blanked that Trump. What is that word they redacted and why is it redacted? I'm just wondering. I think the word is revealed or exposed. When Harry exposed that Trump told him, that's what that sounds like it was. But why would they redact that little word? Okay, are they trying to act like he didn't, trying to cover up the fact that he gave Trump the information? I don't know. This is all so crazy. Okay, that Trump told him that he was going to F Amazon over their military contracts. CHS advised that this was a real collusion story. Okay, Trump has been compromised by Israel, and Kushner is the real brains behind his organization and his presidency. Didn't I tell y'all this months ago? Didn't I tell y'all this months ago? You heard it here first. Okay? Y'all heard it here first. Don't tell me my prophetic visions aren't accurate. Don't tell me my prophetic visions aren't accurate. Y'all know I'm always right. Okay? I'm always right when the Most High gives me downloads. I've been told y'all this. And now here it is in black and white in the damn documents that they've been hiding. That they have been hiding. Okay? That's right, DJ Big Six. Bingo. All right, this is all so nefarious, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. So then it goes on to say, Trump has been compromised by Israel. But hold on. Let's even go a step further. What else did I tell you all? At the beginning of the year of last year, at the beginning of last year, 2025, January of 2025, what did I tell you all? Trump was going to declare himself king of the Jews. I told you that was prophesied by a man named David Goldberg, who mysteriously died in 2015, right after he made the prediction. Okay, and then I told you that I had reported this years ago, and that Trump, in fact, did claim himself to be the king of the Jews. Okay, I did a whole video about it. And if you didn't see that video, go back because it's got a picture of Trump on the front wearing a crown upon his head. Okay, I told y'all all of this. This is all so crazy. But anyway, and I also told y'all that Jared was absolutely the brains behind this organization and that Stephen Miller is the one that's in charge of the whole thing with the immigration because he's the advisor. He's telling Trump how to handle the ICE situation. Okay, all that nefarious stuff going on with ICE, Stephen Miller's responsible for it. Okay. Now, with that all been said, and that's not alleged, okay, Stephen Miller is the one advising Trump. Okay, so with that all being said, Igor Karbatov, or just call him Igor, brokered the sale of a Beverly Hills mansion Trump acquired for $8,000 less than the market value. Now, CHS referenced the attached article that summarized the matter. A small-time scam artist gave Trump a mansion for $0. Why? Okay, why would he do that? Published April the 12th of 2018 by Lance Williams and Matt Smith in Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting. Now, Ross Delson, a Washington, D.C. based attorney and consult on financial crimes to the International Monetary Fund, said the deal included many facets that don't add up. Okay, and that the deal warrants further scrutiny, and investigators should follow up on the numerous oddities and red flags that this series of transactions raises. It sounds like Trump has been doing fraud. It sounds like Trump may be involved in money laundering. It sounds like all I'm saying is Letitia James, she won that lawsuit, okay, that Trump appealed, remember? When he was supposed to pay the $454 million. Sounds like she was absolutely right. But these judges, in my opinion, some of them are in Trump's pocket. Okay? Now, the Fishes signed the deed transferring the Beverly Hills home. The Fishes are prominent Los Angeles real estate investors and political donors. And I bet you, and I told you this yesterday, that the three Alexander brothers currently on trial for trafficking, rugging women, and abusing and all kinds of nefarious things like the things we're reading in the Epstein files, they're real estate investors as well. And I told you all yesterday that I bet you we're going to find out that they're absolutely involved in all of this. All of these people are in cahoots, tied in together, and have been working with each other likely for decades. Okay? Now, the Alexander brothers wouldn't have been doing it for decades because they're not that old. But I'm just saying, I do believe that they're involved in this stuff as well. And we're going to find this all out. Okay, so let's continue. So goes on to say that the Los Angeles real estate investors and political donors, okay, the Fishes are prominent Los Angeles real estate investors and political donors. They have given more than $250,000 to the GOP candidates and causes, records show. They were guests at the White House when George W. Bush was president and accompanied him on a trip to Israel. That place keeps coming up. Selma Fish said in a phone interview, now their daughter and wife of the sales broker, Lisa Korbatov, is a GOP activist and president of the Beverly Hills Unified School Board. Lisa is an active member of the Jewish community in Beverly Hills. Okay, well, it certainly sounds like all of these people are being tied to one particular community. Dare I say who the community is, but I think we can all figure it out. So let's continue. After one season on the West Coast, The Apprentice, hold on, West Coast. Okay, The Apprentice moved back to New York. Trump never lived in the Beverly Hills mansion. In the summer of 2009, he sold the home for $9.5 million. Okay, $800,000 less than the previous year's price to a Swiss entity associated with the family of Eka Widjaja, an Indonesian billionaire financier. Now, the sale was in cash. Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, filed the legal papers for the shell company involved in the mansion's purchase, and he notarized the deal when Trump sold the property. Records show he didn't respond to multiple requests for comments. Well, I bet he didn't. Okay, do y'all hear this? This is all nefarious, but hold on, there's more. Let me pull this one up. This is all crazy. Let me see here. Hold on, beloveds. I'm looking at this to see if this is something I already went over. Oh, no, this is a continuation of that document that I just went over. Okay, that's what this is. Okay, so. Okay, CHS stated blank. Renda Tillerson phone number redacted. Renda is the wife of Rex Tillerson, former Secretary of State for Trump. All of these people are tied to guess who? Okay, Renda told CHS about smears in the New York Post and how Jared was running a rival State Department operation. Rex affirmed Renda's claim. Now, Renda was introduced to CHS by Darren Blanton. Renda and Rex both told CHS that they had been under intense surveillance. Renda told CHS she can't wait for the FBI to call her so that she can tell them everything she knows. Now, did they call her is what I want to know. So according to Jed Sugarman and Whitney Webb, Leon Black owns the mercenary firm formerly known as Blackwater, okay, now Constellus, which has been accused of being involved in several arms and human trafficking scandals. Isn't this interesting? Black is also the CEO of Apollo. At New York Times noted that Black inexplicably stood by Jeffrey Epstein, recently giving him $50 million. Apollo also lent the Kushners $184 million while Kushner was facing his 666 Fifth Avenue disaster. Elliot Brody recently pled to charges related to money laundering, unregistered lobbying for the UAE. Brody previously paid a former Playboy model $1 million to stay quiet about an affair that he had with her. Brody allegedly successfully lobbied to increase U.S. sanctions on the government of Qatar, and CHS advised since Brody was purported the largest fundraiser for Trump, supporting the 2016 presidential election, he apparently used his access to Trump to lobby. Okay, Joel Mowbray, telephone number redacted, has been in Brody's inner circle. CHS believed Mowbray was an unregistered lobbyist. Mowbray was one of the shiftiest people CHS has ever encountered. Mowbray was a convert to, y'all know what? The religion that I'm not going to speak on. CHS stated that Mowbray would flip on Brody because he's a flipper. Congressman Ed Royce was close to Brody and has been trying to do shady things. Royce's wife may be a lobbyist who works with Brody. Now, CHS emphasized the importance for the FBI to investigate Gawker for its involvement in pushing Russian propaganda. Matt Mellon told CHS that after Gawker was destroyed, the Russian intelligence service started using Zero Hedge to influence U.S. people. Now, here's the synopsis. Foreign influence on U.S. officials by Israel, Russia, and UAE. Y'all heard that? Foreign influence on the United States. Trump needs to be tried for treason. He needs to be tried for treason. I told you all this. I've been told y'all. Trump needs to be tried for treason, okay? As well as these other things that he's accused of. I told y'all Trump sold out the United States, sitting there talking about America first. And then look at this, how he took a dig at Prince Andrew. Pay attention. Now, he said him and Prince Andrew were both at doing these things at the same time. Okay, I told you all I don't believe that Trump ever went to Epstein Island, because in the Epstein files, it said that Trump was not, basically, he's not the type of person that's going to come to you. You got to bring it to him. And that a lot of these things allegedly happened in Mar-a-Lago. Okay, I mean, let's not forget how Epstein was always there, and they said that he'd never been asked to leave. In the files, that's what it said. After Trump lied and told us to our faces that he kicked him out for being a creep. Okay, please pay attention. Now they say Trump's like, it wasn't me, it was him. But I was not at the island. I never had the privilege to go. Yeah, you weren't at the island, in my opinion, but you darn sure were doing the same things happening at the island at Mar-a-Lago. Okay, now let's go to this clip. DJ Big Six said Uncle Luke was a witness to it. Yeah, I forgot about that. Did I show you all that video of Luke saying some stuff about this? I know I listened to it a couple of weeks ago. I can't even remember if I showed it to you all.
What do you think the problem will be? I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. What do you think the problem will be? I don't know, but that island was.
He threw him under the bus, but you just also heard him saying the same broadcast right now. You heard earlier where he was saying this is so bad for the royal family. This is so bad for them. Well, I think it's sad. Then he goes and throws him under the bus. Are y'all listening? This man is insane. Okay. Now let's go to this thing about Erica Kirk, because this is also interesting. I told you all this, but let's get into it, because these receipts keep coming out. The receipts just keep coming out. They won't stop. Okay, they won't stop. Nessa said Uncle Luke's backpedaling now. Yeah, I bet he is. I wouldn't be surprised. Some people backpedal out of fear. Some do it because they're involved. There are some myriad of reasons, but I would not be surprised.
Erica Kirk's story is coming out, and the Republicans are freaking out over it.
Erica Kirk was reportedly banned from Romania for trafficking children with her group, the Evangelical Angels.
The rabbit hole of Erica Kirk, allegedly, is getting darker and darker.
Nah, fool. There's no way she just did this. Donald Trump like, do it.
So if you don't know what's going on, Charlie Kirk's wife won Miss Arizona, a beauty pageant, when she was, I think, 17. She had never contested before. Someone just told her, hey, you could be a beauty pageant. And guess what company she worked for? Guess who she worked for in the beauty pageant? Donald Trump.
Republicans are so stressed right now. Actually, they should be stressed. What do you mean? Erica Kirk won Miss Arizona when she was under 18. And that is the time DJT was the head of the competitions. And she is older than Charlie Kirk. But before she met Charlie Kirk, she was working for DJT in Romania under the Evangelical Angels. And they were taking kids to the United States that were girls, telling them they were going to visit Disneyland. Like the United States military itself, it could go and deliver presents to these little girls. Where would Erica Kirk get that power to get the military to deliver presents to Romanian girls if no higher power was involved. Anyway, so Erica Kirk was banned from Romania for trafficking kids. Now, I thought this was getting weird, but it's getting weirder. She's getting weird, y'all. See, a lot of people are speculating that something is happening between Erica Kirk and DJT, and it has been happening ever since her early days in Miss Arizona.
Yeah, so Republicans in Israel might have shot themselves in the foot with this Charlie Kirk thing, because Erica Kirk's story is coming out and the Republicans are freaking out over it. So if you don't know what's going on, Charlie Kirk's wife won Miss Arizona, a beauty pageant, when she was, I think, 17. She had never contested before. Someone just told her, hey, you could be a beauty pageant. And guess what company she worked for? Guess who she worked for as in the beauty.
I don't know why they're playing that repeatedly. Now listen, let's go to this clip from Representative Ro Khanna and what he has to say about the United Nations.
Human rights experts just finished a review of the 3.5 million documents that the Department of Justice released because of Thomas Massie and my Epstein Transparency Act. What they found is genuinely revolting. They found instances of sexual slavery, of forced disappearances, of torture. They concluded that it could be, quote, crimes against humanity. And they said that the Department of Justice did not comply with the law and had excessive redactions. That is why today I'm calling for three things. First, the Department of Justice must set up a special prosecution committee to go after those in the Epstein files that are accountable. Second, the Speaker must set up a select committee to have Epstein hearings where every person who went to that island is called in towards Congress and testifies. And finally, we must have the full release of the Epstein files, not protecting the predators, but protecting survivors.
Exactly. Okay, crimes against humanity, slavery. And I told you all, slavery, human trafficking, it's all the same thing. You all do realize that now, right? You all do realize that now, right? That slavery and human trafficking are exactly the same thing. And, it was my friend who wrote The Matrix, okay, Sophia Stewart, who first brought that to my attention. She said it's all the same thing. Slavery is human trafficking. And I think we can all say that that's true, because now that we're finding out all the things that have been alleged to have happened during this trafficking ring by Jeffrey Epstein and others, these are the same things that happened during slavery. I told you all about how they were feeding the black children to alligators in the Epstein files. It talks about the alligators in the water and this and that, okay? At the end of the day, who do you think they were feeding to those alligators? The same people they fed to them in slavery, okay? Them talking about eating people. I don't know why some of these MAGA minions are out here trying to discredit the people's talk about cannibalism as if that's so far-fetched. We know for facts they were eating our ancestors. Read Delectable Negro. They never stopped doing those nefarious things. They're still doing them. Okay, the thing now is they're so shocked and appalled, okay, and thrown out of sync because they find out that not only were they eating black people, they're eating them too. They're eating them too. Okay. And the truth hurts.
Did something horrific, or if you were extraordinarily close to Jeffrey Epstein, if you got caught lying time and time again about your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, if you're a Republican, this same party that talked about getting to the bottom of the Epstein files, which we've been talking about on this show since 2015, when very few other people other than Julie Brown in Miami were talking about it. Now, if you're a Republican, you're off the hook. In fact, Comer and his committee doesn't even care about the man who started this hellscape. They don't even show up for his deposition.
Yeah, I told you, nobody showed up. But did you all see who was with Epstein in that picture? Lex Wessner. But he wants us to think that there was no friendship there. And he doesn't know how Epstein got into his bank account. He literally said he didn't know anything about it. When asked about the billions that Jeffrey Epstein had his hands on that was his money, said he didn't know anything about that.
Tells you how hypocritical and how morally bankrupt on this Epstein issue they are all across the world. Gravity still holds. Moral gravity still holds in government. You know, J.D. Vance always looking down the end of his little nose at Europe. Well, at least they have shame in Europe. If somebody was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, there are consequences. No consequences here. And again, I keep saying it. Republicans are too stupid to listen to me because they've always been too stupid to do what's in their best interest. This is your own base you're screwing. This is your own base you're ignoring. This is your own base that you're saying, hey, don't trust anything we Republicans say. You're doing that to yourself. And all the money and all the campaign stops by the president, all of that, that doesn't help. That actually makes things worse for you because you're covering up for people who consorted with Jeffrey Epstein. Good luck with that. If you did something horrific or if you were
Now let's go back to this next clip, and this is just to remind you of Lutnick's lies. Now this is an AI video. The woman speaking is clearly AI, but what she's saying is actual facts because this was in the files, and that's how we found out that Lutnick was a whole liar who lies.
A Trump cabinet member just admitted under oath that he lied to Congress, lied to the American people, and took his wife and 4 children to lunch on Jeffrey Epstein's private island years after Epstein was convicted of soliciting prostitution from a minor. And the White House is standing by him. What I'm about to show you is one of the most disturbing admissions from a government official in recent memory. And it proves that the Epstein scandal goes far deeper than anyone wants to admit. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick sat in front of the Senate Appropriations Committee on Tuesday and confessed that everything he told the public about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein was a lie. For over a year, Lutnick has been saying he cut off all contact with Epstein in 2005 after visiting his New York apartment and getting what he called a bad feeling about the place. He described seeing a massage table surrounded by candles and Epstein making sexually suggestive comments. Lutnick said, and I'm quoting him directly from a podcast he did last year, "In the 6 to 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again." That was the story. That was what he told everyone. He cut ties in 2005, never spoke to Epstein again, called him disgusting, end of story. Except it was all a lie. And we know it was a lie because the Justice Department just released 3 million pages of Epstein files. And Howard Lutnick's name appears in over 250 documents spanning more than a decade after 2005. The files show emails between them, meetings scheduled, business investments together, and most disturbingly, a 2012 visit to Epstein's Caribbean island, where Lutnick brought his wife, his 4 children, his nannies, and another couple with their kids.
Okay. Hold on. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me go back to that clip. Miss E said it sounds like Rachel Maddow's voice. You know what? Come to think of it, it does. Okay, so let's go back to this clip. I'm going to go back just a couple of seconds.
Timeline. Let me be crystal clear about the timeline here, because this is what makes it so damning. Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty in 2008 to soliciting prostitution from a minor. He was convicted. He was registered as a sex offender. Everyone in the country knew who he was and what he had done. And 4 years later, in December 2012, Howard Lutnick packed up his family and flew to Epstein's private island for lunch. This wasn't before the conviction. This wasn't when Epstein's crimes were still hidden. This was after the whole world knew he was a predator. Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland didn't hold back during Tuesday's hearing. He looked directly at Lutnick and said, "The issue is not that you engaged in any wrongdoing in connection with Jeffrey Epstein, but that you totally misrepresented the extent of your relationship with him to the Congress, to the American people, and to the survivors of his despicable criminal and predatory acts. That last part is what really matters. Epstein's survivors have been fighting for justice for years, and a sitting cabinet member just admitted he lied about his relationship with their abuser. Lutnick tried to defend himself by saying it was just a family vacation. He said, "I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation."
We already know what his lying behind said. We already know. Okay, let's go to the next clip. People, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. And let me tell you all something else that my son brought to my attention last night. Okay, I was talking to my oldest son last night, and he told me, you know, as I'm discussing the files with him and all this stuff, keeping him up to date on it or whatever, he said, "Mom," he said, "you don't remember this was, they were telling us this in Hocus Pocus?" And I'm like, "Hocus Pocus? I never saw that." And so, have you all seen Hocus Pocus? I started watching it last night, but I fell asleep. And when I woke back up, I started doing more research. So I literally haven't gotten but like 2 or 3 hours of sleep. But so Hocus Pocus is about these witches. And I'm going to finish watching it today. But it's about these witches in this town who are kidnapping children and either drinking their blood or eating them to stay young. Okay? Unlike allegations in the files. All right? Like allegations by some of the witnesses. Please pay attention. Okay? So yeah, I had not ever really watched that. I remember him watching it as a kid, but I didn't watch it with him. Okay, but let's continue.
Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick needs to lose his job now. He is a liar, or he's just really, really bad with money, which is ironic because he's our Secretary of Commerce. Here's why.
Why did the Epstein files show you coordinating a meeting and planning a visit with Jeffrey Epstein on his private island in December 2012?
Thank you for the question. I'm glad to be here to make it clear that I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York. Right? And I met him then. Over the next
Okay, so he lived right next door to this man, okay? Like 6 steps away. But we're supposed to think y'all didn't really know each other like that. The lies.
14 years, I met him 2 other times that I can recall. 2 times. And that is none for 6 years. So 6 years later, I met him.
So Howard, you're saying that you lived right next door to Epstein for 6 years, and you only saw him a couple times. And
Right. You lived next door to him for 6 years and saw him twice. Please make it all make sense. But Edward says, like the story of Hansel and Gretel. Exactly. Okay, now that you mention it, and that was written by the Brothers Grimm, wasn't it? And back in the 1800s. Okay, 1800s. So what does that tell us? Because where do you think he got the idea of the story from Hansel and Gretel? Thanks, Edward, for bringing that back to our memory and recollection. Okay, where do you think they got that story from? Have they been doing this since the 1800s? Sure, they have, to our ancestors, and they've been doing it before then as well.
suddenly you traveled all the way down to like the Caribbean islands area to meet with him. And that means you had to take an airplane, a boat, because it was a different island. So you had to take that. So you're either one, a liar. Like, who goes 6 years without talking to a neighbor and suddenly travels all the way to the Caribbean islands to see him? Or number 2, you're just really, really bad with money. Like, you could have just went next door and hung out with him and had lunch with him. You didn't have to travel with your family and the kids takers and all that all the way down to the islands just to meet with your next door neighbor from New York for lunch.
Do you all hear how ridiculous this all is? The lies are so childlike and ridiculous. Okay? Nene said the Brothers Grimm were spilling all the tea. Yes. Wow. Sweet Butter said, that dude is busted in another email, Queen. They caught him lying. Yes. Absolutely, beloved. So this is all crazy. You're going to go to an island and take your family, I mean, your wife, your kids, your nanny, and go there for hours to have lunch when the man was living right next door to you for 6 whole years. It doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't even make any sense. That scares me as a U.S. citizen that our Secretary of Commerce thinks that's logical, that's ethical. Like, mind you, Jeffrey Epstein was already convicted of sex crimes and child crimes by this time that this happened in his previous cases. So why would you bring your kids to meet a convicted child sexual assault suspect?
Okay, isn't that what I told you all the other day when I was talking about Howard Lutnick and all its lies? I said, why would he take his children to that island? Okay, when he's heard these things about it. Okay? And I told you there's only 2 reasons, in my opinion, that he would do that. One of 2 reasons. Either because he's involved in these things. Okay? Either because he's involved in these things or because he was trafficking his kids. Well, that would mean he's involved. So it's the same thing. But basically, he would have to be involved in my opinion. You'd just have to be. Because who in their right mind would bring their children to that nefarious island after the stuff you've heard? Even if you didn't know for sure if it was true, but why would you even risk it? Okay? Why would you even risk it? I don't think he brought his wife and kids. Actually, I think he went there by himself and was doing nefarious things and only brought up the fact of him bringing his wife and children and the nanny to make it all seem that he wasn't doing anything nefarious. Okay? That's just my opinion. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this clip with Pierce Morgan, and I'm going to put an overlay on this because I do not have permission to use this footage. This is exposing yet more lies.
Trump. I just want to mention a couple of things. I just brought this along just to remind myself. Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than has previously been reported or that we were aware. That's an email from one of his own DOJ lawyers in 2020. Trump lied, Piers, when he said he never went on the plane. He went on the plane 8 times. We know, for example, that Epstein wrote in 2011, Donald Trump spent hours at my house with a victim. He referred to Trump being at his house as the dog that hasn't barked. He said in 2019, Trump knew about the girls. Now, he could be lying, Epstein. He's a horrible convicted sex offender. But the point is, we've not had full investigations. The media has barely touched this, Piers. There's been a lot of coverage of Prince Andrew and Thiel and Elon Musk and Reid Hoffman and all sorts of people. Katie Couric. There hasn't actually been that much coverage of Donald Trump's own relationship with Epstein as much as there should have been. If this was any other president or politician, this would be a huge scandal. And I agree with you on the kind of, we haven't got evidence of criminality, but I just want to show, this is in the Epstein files, right? This is page 21. This is a 21-page FBI a PowerPoint presentation. This is
I'm sorry, I forgot I was muted. Now, this is the file that I forgot to show you, so I'm glad he's bringing it up. But this is one of the slides out of the 21-slide presentation by the FBI that I was talking about with the names of prominent men, okay?
the page they have from last summer called Prominent Names. Donald Trump's at the top with 2 allegations in there. Now, I'm not saying those are proven allegations, but the idea that we as a media, that the American public's not even familiar with those allegations, I think we need to be talking much more about what a huge scandal this is and how many lies have been told by the people in power, not just Donald Trump. And I know Bill Clinton is going to have his day to talk about what were his relationships with Epstein as well. Piers, I'll say this, one last point. I no longer can just laugh at people who come up with conspiracy theories anymore. I can't. I used to be very dismissive of conspiracy theories.
No,
but
I agree.
when it
I
comes
said
to this,
this.
we have seen the lies and the cover-up.
Do you know what? I said the other day, I would literally now be prepared to believe any conspiracy theory relating to the Epstein scandal, because so much of it is actually coming true. That who the hell knows, right? I mean, I just think the idea.
Although you're quick to defend your pal Donald Trump, who was close to him.
No, I'm only quick to defend him about one part of this, which is there's a lot of stuff in those files that is clearly fantastical, malicious, and was investigated and
but there's a lot of stuff redacted,
Piers. No, I agree, but there's no.
How do we know?
There's been
How
no
do we know
evidence.
the full extent of this.
Well, it's a perfectly valid point.
Agreed. But there hasn't been a full investigation. but there hasn't been a full investigation.
I agree with
you would
that.
agree with that, Piers.
And I'm
You
with
have
you.
Kash Patel and Pam
Mehdi,
Bondi shutting it down. Why is a director of the
Mehdi,
FBI and the Attorney General
I agree.
shutting down?
Mehdi, you're preaching to the choir. I've been saying the same thing. There should
I love it when we
absolutely
agree.
be full
I
transparency.
love it when we agree.
Pierce doesn't actually agree. Okay, he's just trying to save face, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere. He absolutely has been caping for Trump. That's what he has been doing. Okay, that's what he has been doing. He keeps saying no credible, no confirmation, and this, that, and the third. Well, the only reason it hasn't been confirmed is because they never bothered to conduct a thorough investigation. Okay, that's what they never bothered to do, and they still don't want to do it. They keep saying there's no credible evidence, but why aren't you investigating? You have all these allegations. See, here's the thing I want you all to pay attention to. So in the case of Bill Cosby, for example, when these women were making heinous allegations against Bill Cosby, there was no DNA evidence, there was no pictures, there was no emails, there was none of the stuff that we have in this case. But Bill Cosby was still found guilty. He was still found guilty. Okay, so I find that interesting. And at the end of the day, with all of this evidence, because to me, this is all evidence. Okay, now if you want to confirm these things, the best way to do that would be to thoroughly investigate all of the evidence, all of the witnesses, and release all of the files and everything and the videos and all of that stuff. Okay, now some of the videos you can't release because they're child porn, clearly. But at the end of the day, they know what they're doing, okay? They're absolutely lying and hiding all of the facts so that the truth just doesn't come out. But it's going to come out regardless. Okay, now here's the thing. The problem with lying is you have to be able to keep up with those lies. Okay, so let's get into it.
Just said on Truth Social that it would be a big mistake for the UK to hand over control of Chagos Islands to Mauritius. But the State Department earlier this week has said that the U.S. does support that handover. So does this post now suggest that the U.S. does not, or that President Trump has changed his mind on this?
The post should be taken as the policy of the Trump administration. It's coming straight from the horse's mouth. When you see it on Truth Social, you know it's directly from President Trump. That's the beauty of this president and his transparency and relaying this administration's policies to all of you and to the rest of the world.
See, now the problem with lying is that you have to be able to keep up with said lies, or you will inevitably end up contradicting yourself. Because I recall a couple weeks ago, you told us in response to Donald Trump posting this racist video that no, in fact, he doesn't control his Truth Social. It's a staffer who did it. But here you are in like a press conference today stating that Donald Trump, he is the president of transparency. Everything you see on his Truth Social is posted by him and only him. Which is it? Because you're quite literally admitting that, yes, it was Donald Trump who posted this, which we all already knew that. We knew that. We know that every single time he posts something bad and you guys get heat, you blame it on a staffer. But just know this video is going to haunt you, because he will go on to post many horrific things the next couple of years. And every single time I am going to bring this video back for everyone's eyes to witness, in which you said that no, it is Donald Trump who posts his own videos on his own Truth Social because he's the president of transparency. Anyways, my name is Mercedes Chandler. Give me a follow, everyone.
Okay, so Edward says that if Kamala had been the president, none of this would have come out. That might be true. At the end of the day, I think it still would have had to have come out. Now, I think that maybe Kamala wouldn't have wanted to put it out, but I think it still would have come out at the end of the day. I don't think any president would have wanted to put it out because there's other presidents named, not just Trump, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush. Okay, so with that all being said, and then there's Democrats and Republicans involved, okay, in these files that are named in these files. So I think that they absolutely would not have wanted to release it, no matter who was in charge. But Trump, he's the one, okay, that's the current president that's in there. And Kamala is not. So I think that Trump definitely, he has more to gain by hiding this than anyone, okay, on the planet, in my opinion. So now let's go. We're done with all this for today. Let's now go to our Black History moment, because we're after the 2-hour mark. Okay, we're almost 2 hours and 15 minutes in. So let's go to my Black History presentation that I have for you all. Okay, today we're going to be talking about none other then Muhammad Ali. Please pay attention. Okay, so I'm not going to use overlays for these. I don't want to use overlays. Well, I guess I'll have to. I don't want any copyright claims. Or I don't really care about the claims. The claims just mean they're not going to pay you for the video, but copyright strikes is what I want to avoid. Okay, so I'll just use them just to be on the safe side.
All belongs to black people.
Don't you believe that the black and white can live side by side in harmony?
If I said yes, that don't make it right because they can't. I was in Milwaukee just meddling the other day. Didn't nobody see me. And I saw white people, white babies, white girls, and they just was jeering and they hate and they just evil as they can be, coming to kill and shoot and throw bricks at Negroes.
You're talking,
and this is as a whole.
What you're talking in particular is when you must.
Hold on. Do y'all hear this? He said, didn't he say the little kids or the babies, they were just as evil as they could be? You know, Queen says that we can listen to you all day, Queen. Yes, I'm listening. We love the Queen's News Network. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Talking general.
Why is it you don't, your whole conversation now is to keep Negroes with you? Why you don't want us to leave you?
Well, because in my estimation, Negro people are every bit as good as white people.
As good as white people.
They're all the same. They're all God's people.
We're not saying we're not all God's people, because if whites was God's people, they wouldn't treat us like they do.
Ouch. Baby, when I tell you I love me some Muhammad Ali, and did I tell you all, I'm sure I have, that I met him when I was 8 years old? Okay, I went to a lady to learn piano lessons. Her name was Miss Carter. She was like in her 70s, like 74 or something at that time. Anyway, she taught Muhammad Ali piano lessons as well. Okay? And Muhammad Ali came on her birthday. I think that's when she turned 74. He came to the YWCA. That's where we had the lessons at. But he came there to see her on her birthday while we were having our lessons. And she stepped outside to speak to him. But then he came in and he spoke to us and tapped me on my head. And also, I went home and told my mother, because I had told my mother previously that Miss Carter said she knew Muhammad Ali. And my mother's like, that old antique ace bitch doesn't know him. And I was like, what? And then when I came back and told her that he came to the class, she was like, oh, I guess the bitch did know him after all. You know, I remember being a kid like, why doesn't she like Miss Carter? I don't know why she didn't like that lady, but she didn't. But so anyway, this is all so nefarious. Okay, how he's just, Muhammad Ali would just tell you straight up how it was. Okay? Just tell you straight up how it was. Portico Queen said, wow, that's deep, Queen. Okay, isn't it though?
Right,
Not God's
you're
people.
talking again.
Jesus said there's no good.
Now, hold on. Let me say this. Keep in mind that I was raised in Louisville, Kentucky. That's where Muhammad Ali's, that's his birthplace, okay? So that's why he would be there. But anyway, let's continue.
Good in whites. It's in the Bible. What verse is that? Jesus says no good. John what? 8:44. John 8:44. Where Jesus talking on white people. He said there's no good in you. And he said, no, not one.
Hey, Cassius, you're talking.
I'm not Cassius. You still calling me. I can't get on with you.
Mohammed, you're talking in
I'm not no white
when you
man.
have to talk in generality.
So you want to keep calling me a white man's name. I'm not white. I don't want to be called after your name no more. I'm not no slave. I'm Muhammad Ali. The whole world belongs to black people.
Don't you believe that the black and white can live side by side?
Ooh, honey, that is so interesting to me. Okay, how he just went all in. Now, Jay Gray says, were you born in Louisville? No, I was born in Georgia. I was born in Louisville, Georgia, actually. But I was raised in Louisville, Kentucky, okay, since I was 4 years old. I grew up there, went to school there, okay, and all of that. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. And I went to college in Kentucky, too, at EKU, Eastern Kentucky University. All right, so let's go to this next clip.
Your suggestion, that's your question. Okay, you talking to me, not a dumb Negro or pork chop eater, don't know the truth. I'm free now. I woke up. Now, what are you going to tell me now? I done gave you my solution, some land of my own, doing something for myself like you, England, and America do. Now, I know you're not against the black man. I know you're not against me having my land, are you? I know you English, the ruled and slave forever for a long time. But do you still today don't want me to have my own country and build for myself and govern myself? Would you think that's bad? bad if we thought like that?
I
Well, what's
think-
your solution to my problem? 1974, you all just, some white man just flew from New York to England in an hour, less than 2 hours. You all are so progressive. You're walking around on other planets. Now, today, I'm intelligent too now. What's your suggestion? What should be my movement? Integrate?
Yeah, equal rights in a mixed society.
In this society, where you still own the government, you still own the train station, the railroad plant, the lecture plant, these television cameras, you still make all the food, you control everything, and I'm like a leech on a dog's back. All I can do is just wait for you. I can't do nothing for myself. Integrating in your society don't mean I'm doing nothing for myself. You doing it all. I want to do something for myself. I'm tired of depending on you. You might get broke one day. Your stores might close. Your gas pumps might cut off again. I'm relying on you now. Can I have my own land and country?
Well, you've got your own freedom here. For instance, I know you're luckier than many black people
I'm
in
not
America,
talking
but
about
you're
me.
your own
I'm
boss.
speaking for my nation.
I know, I appreciate
If I was
that.
representing just me, I wouldn't be talking like this because I got it made. I'm talking for my brothers. who's out
But
there
I just
thinking
don't
now.
see how, Mohammed,
You
I
don't
don't
see
see how you can slice up America into bits and get
Well,
all the
then we
whites
leave.
in one area and all the
Well,
blacks in another.
then we leave then. We leave.
But then
I said, but they missed it. Ali said, I know it. I am so through. He would go in, honey. Okay, Vince I Am says, listen how he's constantly trying to interrupt Muhammad Ali, RIP, and failing all the time. Yes, he was trying to interrupt because he was just, trying to gaslight and deflect. But Muhammad Ali was absolutely right. And, at the end of the day, we would have been better off doing what Muhammad Ali said as opposed to what Dr. King said. Not to take anything away from Dr. King. Okay, he thought he was doing the right thing, but at the end of the day, he's right. Integrating into a system where you control and run everything and dictate the narrative of our lives. Okay? I want you all to pay attention. Now, I'm going to share the next clip. Let's continue. Whew. Okay, we the people saying you can hear the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Absolutely. Absolutely.
A Negro boy in the South.
We say black now.
All right,
I know
black.
I know
All
what
right.
you're talking about.
All right. Is it not the same thing?
What? No, Negro. We are taught that all people are named after country. Chinese are named after China. Cubans are named after Cuba. Irish people are named after Ireland. Indonesians named after Indonesia. Japanese are named after Japan. Australians are named after Australia. But there's no country named Negro.
All right, then let me.
You understand?
I understand.
You're
Let
not
me
as dumb as you look.
Let me rephrase. Do I look that dumb?
No.
What attracted you then to Islam in the first instance?
The Muslim religion is the true teachings of Elijah Muhammad right there in America, and the power structure. Nobody will challenge him. And the history of ourselves, the history of our true religion, our nationality, our names. See, we don't have our names, I know how proud you all are, proud of your names. See, Chinese have names like Chang Chong, Lu Qian. This is Islamic teachings. Russians have names like Kosygin or Khrushchev. You have names like O'Connor or Grady or Kennedy. And Africans have names like Lumumba, Nkrumah. And Jews got names like Weinstein and Goldberg. And Italians got names like Dundee and Benvenuti and Marciano. But we have names like Grady and Clay and Hawkins and Smith and Jones and Johnson.
Now, I want you to look at the interviewer, how he's trying so hard not to snicker. He's trying not to laugh, okay? Because he knows it's all facts, what Muhammad Ali is telling him.
But we are black.
These are the slave names.
Yeah, when I heard this, I knew it was the truth. It's history. So Muhammad Ali is a beautiful black name of our ancestors. So when I heard this, I just had to walk out of the church and Christianity because they never taught us our true knowledge. Then they told me how we were brainwashed in America. We see Jesus, he's white with blonde hair and blue eyes. We see the Lord's Supper, all white people. We see the angels in heaven, all white people. And we look at Miss Universe, a white woman, Miss America, a white woman, Miss World, a white woman. Even Tarzan, the king of the jungles in Africa, he was white. He said,
we see a white man swinging around Africa, oh, with a diaper on. Oh, he beats up all Africans and breaks the lion's jaw. And then the Africans been in Africa for centuries, but he can't yet talk to the animals. But Tarzan, all of a sudden, some goat raised him up and he can talk to the animals. So I'm just showing you how the black man in America has been whitewashed his mind. And then we look at the good cowboys, they rode the white horses, and the president lived in a White House. They got TV commercials, White House cigars, White Swan soap, King White soap, White Cloud tissue paper, White Rain hair rinse, White Tornado Flow Wax, White Plus toothpaste. The president lived in a White House, and the angel food cake was the white cake, but the devil food cake was the chocolate cake. Everything good was white. And when I heard this, I said, boy, this is the truth. So our religion teaches us the knowledge of ourselves, the knowledge of our culture, the knowledge of our history, makes us want to be with our own, marry our own, live with our own, clean up ourselves, do for self, quit forcing ourselves in white neighborhoods, but clean our own neighborhoods, makes us proud, makes us identify with our own brothers throughout the world. And after I heard this, being an intelligent man, then like I'm not only a winner in boxing or my stand on the draft, I'm a winner also in the movement that I follow for my people. And the only leader is Elijah Muhammad, who
They said his leader is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who they believe was taught by God himself. Okay, now, before we go to the next clip, let me just interrupt this broadcast for a second, because Barillas just asked, Queen, did you see that the Supreme Court ruled against Trump? Well, I just looked it up, and thank you. And here's what they say. Hold on.
What have we been able to glean so far? Yeah, it's a decision, but we should mention Chief Justice Roberts, Justice Gorsuch, Justice Barrett, also joining the progressives here in a major blow to the centerpiece of the president's economic agenda. The High Court today saying the president essentially overstepped his authority, trying to invoke a law that had never been used before by a president in this way, a statute that says nothing about tariffs, nothing about taxes, and the High Court saying he does not have the authority to do this. This is typically a matter that has been left up to Congress. Every court that looked at this before had said the president had gone too far and said essentially this is a matter for Congress that can delegate some authority to the president, but not all, and certainly not in the sweeping way that he tried to do it. The big question now, what happens to all the money that has been paid by these companies over the last year? Remember, these series of tariffs done by executive order. You see the president's there at the Oval Office announcing these tariffs against virtually all of our trading partners. He used a variety of different mechanisms to try to do it. The court was only looking at one specific mechanism that he used under this Emergency Powers Act, right? And that's the one that I mentioned doesn't say anything about tariffs or taxes. It talks about regulating imports. But the courts that have looked at this before have said essentially regulating imports is not a tax. Doing taxes is for Congress, and therefore he went too far. Again, we're talking about over $130 billion that has been paid by these companies over the last several weeks. You see there the breakdown of the justices again.
Over $130 billion paid by these companies. How much of it went to Trump's bank account? I'm sure a significant portion, if I had to guess. My opinion.
Chief Justice Roberts, Justice Gorsuch, Justice Barrett, all appointed, Justice Gorsuch and Barrett, I should say, appointed by President Trump, now ruling against him in this major blow to the president's agenda.
Laura, how much of a surprise is this, considering what you heard from the justices in terms of their questioning during the oral arguments and what you heard from the plaintiffs and the government?
We knew that they were skeptical at oral argument. They sort of previewed, just based on the text alone, their skepticism there. We just didn't know exactly what the breakdown would be, how they would line up. You know, it's never clear based on oral argument. Are they testing? Or are they sort of previewing? Again, we'll have to read through this carefully to see just all the implications of what comes next for these companies, what the president does going forward here, using other authorities. I mentioned the White House has suggested he would do that. Right. He has done that when it comes to some tariffs, but at least using this Emergency Powers Act, the court has said he has gone too far.
Oops. Well, he went too far. He clearly went too far. Okay, but let's continue with our Black history, honey. Trump just took another L, and I love to hear it. Don't y'all?
One who will not even consider giving his life for you. That's a friend. Everybody you name are with me for money. and for what they can get. I don't have no friends. I wrote a poem that says, friendship is a priceless gift that cannot be bought nor sold, but its value is far greater than a mountain made of gold. For gold is cold and lifeless. It can neither see nor hear, and in time of trouble it is powerless to cheer. Gold, it has no ears to listen, no heart to understand. It cannot not bring you comfort or reach out a helping hand. So when you ask God for a gift, be thankful if he sends, not diamonds, pearls, or riches, but the love of real, true friends. See, friends are very rare. A friend is one who will not even consider giving his life.
Okay, y'all heard that. Now let's continue. Let's continue.
We can eat in your restaurant. We want to marry your women. We got your women now. It ain't nothing we can't do today. But these things the dog got. I see dogs on television eating out of the same plate with white people. I see dogs in the buses, and they do everything with the dogs. So I ain't getting nothing the dog ain't got. So really, ain't nothing in this integration. I need some land. I need some jobs. My people need jobs. We need something so we can build and do for ourselves, and we must have some land. 40 million people. You know, it's a lot of Negroes just in New York and Cleveland, Baltimore, Washington, California. It's a lot of black. Woo, that's a whole nation. 40 million, man. They don't tell you the truth about that. They want us to stop having babies. They give them birth
20
control.
million.
They're paying black women
It's
not to have
40
babies
million,
now.
not 20 million?
Yeah, they're paying black women not to have babies now. They got all kind of plans to stop our race.
Well, everyone.
So when we know all of
One thing that I also loved about Ali is the fact that he would not allow them to lead the interview. He would lead the interview himself, and he would also not allow them to talk over him or continuously interrupt. He'd just keep talking and only stop when he wanted to.
He's getting into birth
So now,
control,
a
not just blacks.
man with my knowledge, what can you tell a man like me now? What's your suggestion? That's your question. Okay, you talking to me, not a dumb Negro or pork chop eater, don't know the truth. I'm free now. I woke up. Now, what are you going to tell me now?
Now, we already heard that part on another clip. He was letting them have it. Raw and uncut. Okay?
Called 100 Years of Lynch, written by white men. Taking black women who was 4 months pregnant, they took us for years and hung us up at the feet and stuck a dagger in her stomach and ripped it and pulled the unborn baby out just to put fear in other slaves. They tied up black people to horses and 2 horses and pulled his arms out and pulled his legs out. Lemonade trains with white children and white people of America used to come and watch them tie up 10 or 15 black men and pour gasoline on them and burn them, watch them burn alive. They took us and hung us up with trees and shot us with bullets. They took and cut a hand off and gave it to the little boy and they took the leg off. And this is worse than the devil.
All right, but
see, the devil, the preacher in the church taught us that the devil was up under the ground.
Right.
And he'll wait till he died before he burn us up. This white devil in America was worse because he burned us while we was alive. He didn't wait till we died. So what I'm trying to say is the deeds and the works. And I think this, if Elijah Muhammad can stand in America for 42 years before my little black self was born and say that the American white man is the devil, then the white man should get up and say you are alive. Got a book called 100 Years of Lynching, written by white men, taking black women who was 4 months.
Okay, hold on. Let's go to the next clip. That's right, sweet butters. Each one teach one. Okay, I tell y'all that every day.
History is fundamental. So let's celebrate the 100th anniversary of African American Heritage Month. Today, we count down the 28 most influential of the past century. Number 15, the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. was born on January 17, 1942 in Louisville, Kentucky. In 1964, he upset the heavyweight champion Sonny Liston to win the title at 22 years old. Later that year, he changed his slave name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali.
Hold on. LeVar says, I personally changed my philosophy when it comes to unity. I think it's more stable and long-lasting for people to come together for an internal goal, not solely based on external oppression. Well, you know, that's a good viewpoint as well. because everybody's just not going to get it. And we have all these raccoons amongst us. So it's obvious we don't need to, unify with all of the people who look like us, because do we really want the raccoons involved? I don't. They're the ones that have always sold us out. So that's a very good philosophy, beloved. And thank you for that. And also for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Meeting Malcolm X and joining the Nation of Islam. In 1967, he refused to be drafted into the military, citing religious differences and opposition to the Vietnam War. Ali was stripped of his titles and banned from fighting for 3 years. After winning his appeal to the Supreme Court, he returned to boxing with a vengeance. His fights throughout the 70s were fables. From Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Floyd Patterson, Leon Spinks, and Big George Foreman, Ali confronted them all. They were called the fight of the century, the rumble in the jungle, and the thriller in Manila. During this time, Ali converted to Sunni Islam and made a pilgrimage to Mecca. In the early 80s, Ali was finally forced to retire from boxing after suffering a humiliating defeat by Larry Holmes, his old sparring partner. He'd already been suffering from early signs of Parkinson's disease and spent the next 3 decades raising awareness. During this time, Muhammad Ali had become the most famous person on the planet.
Now, this is a fact about Muhammad Ali that most people probably didn't know. But also, let me just say that I always felt like they injected him with Parkinson's or gave him something to cause him to have Parkinson's. That's just my opinion. But let's continue.
1981 in Los Angeles, Ali talked a man off a ledge who was going to commit suicide. In 1988, during the first Intifada, Ali participated in a Chicago rally in support of Palestine. In 1990, prior to the start of the Gulf War, he met with Saddam Hussein and secured the release of American hostages, much to the chagrin of President Bush. He condemned the attacks on 9/11 and preached for peace and unity. He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2005. On June 2nd, 2016, Muhammad Ali joined the ancestors at the age of 74. The funeral procession passed through the streets of Louisville as hundreds of people watched him go by for the last time. Mourners from across the globe viewed on CNN while Ali's funeral trended on social media for over 12 hours. Numerous Muslims throughout the world made their pilgrimage to Kentucky to personally say goodbye to the one man who had always championed their humanity. That's why Muhammad Ali is number 15 of my 28 most influential African Americans of the past century.
He's number 1 on the list for me. Okay, now with that all being said, let's go to the next clip. After this, I'm going to play a clip from Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, and then we're out of here.
Very angry! Finish him! Finish him! You're a there is no tomorrow! I know! Go to sleep! Finish him! I got this! Help!
Ooh, honey, Muhammad Ali was truly something else. Okay, that man was absolutely the greatest. Okay, that's one thing nobody can deny. He was absolutely the greatest. Now let's go to this clip from Dr. Francis Cress Wellstein. Okay, and then I'm going to conclude the broadcast.
Understand racism to be. Racism is a behavior system that is organized because white people are a minority on the planet.
Now, I want you to pay attention to the people's faces in the audience when they show them.
They are a tiny minority of the world's people. The black, brown, red, and yellow people are the world majority. Not only that, white people are genetic recessive in terms of skin coloration. You see somebody like whose skin is white, if they have sexual relations with a black person, the product is colored. And there is the fear of white genetic annihilation. It existed in Europe, it existed in Germany, it exists here today. If we understand the white fear of genetic annihilation, which was why Willie Horton could be used as a very profound symbol by the Republican Party to win its election, then we will understand what is happening to the black male in this society. The black male is the threat to white genetic annihilation. And so he is profoundly attacked in this society. And if we begin to understand that, we understand what happens to the black family. If you remove the father, then the son is wandering around confused, doesn't know what to do, will get together in a gang and ends up being depressed, getting on drugs and going to prison. And in the United States, in Washington, D.C., I believe we have the second highest incarceration rate, second only to South Africa. And so in South Africa, you have black men in the work camps and the women on the Bantu stands. And here we have the black men in prison and the women in the projects and the male children going unfathered. Now, I say that racism is responsible. Okay. Let me tell you what I understand racism to be.
Okay, well, she told them. Okay, she told them. Now, with that all being said, I have had a request to play Muhammad Ali on Soul Train. Okay, I will gladly play it, but I'm going to have to mute the volume. And so since I'm muting the volume and Muhammad Ali's dancing, I'm going to have to find some music to add. Okay, hold on. Another Queen Amadaya production. Hold on, beloved.
I've got this feeling, it's growing deep. Wondering if in your dreams do I see? I'm purple on the midnight air. Do you feel it when you know I'm not there? Every time a move takes the stage, do you wonder who holds the same page? Do you feel me in the nighttime glow? Am I there when your secret's so open? Do you tremble for my touch tonight? When all the world fades away, out of sight, I'm calling the fire of your mind. Can you search for love you left behind? In the silence, do you hear my name? In all your heart, you don't want to feel it. Walk out of the tearless shadows. My heart in the tears. My shadow needs to song. If you ask for love, I love sweet too. Do we dance? We need the silver.
All right.
Do you think love's like every single day? You feel me in the nighttime. Yeah, my baby.
Okay. Now I had to scramble to do that at the last minute. The music may not have been exactly, to how he was dancing, but I did the best I could do. Okay. Sweet Butter said, thank you, Queen. You're so kind. You're welcome, beloved. Okay, so it was my pleasure. Now, with that all being said, um, I said, damn, these are some unattractive white men on this thumbnail. Yeah, they are attractive deficients. Okay, attractive deficient. Yes. I mean, look at them. Okay, look at them. But here's the question. Now, for those of you that saw Omen, okay, those of you that saw Omen, doesn't Jared Kushner, let me take off the overlay at this point. Doesn't Jared Kushner, in fact, look like Damien? Okay, he absolutely does. And so does Barron Trump. And Barron Trump looks like Jared Kushner, in my opinion. Okay. Uh Queen said, yes, he does. Claudette said, yikes. All right. So with that all being said, listen. Okay, everybody said thanks for that. You all are welcome. Okay, listen, I love you all to life. Maybe I'll come back later. I'm not sure. It just depends on how busy I get today. Okay, but I want you all to enjoy the rest of this day. Enjoy your strong end, not the weekend, leaving you in a weakened state of mind. Okay, and with that being said, each one teach one, not facially disorganized, says Nene. I love it. Okay, but each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now.
That's
See
right.
a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy.
Real slick.
I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hate